Let's get nasty on a Monday. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. 202, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. And our guy, Brad Thompson, live in the flesh for this show. What's up, BT?
What's happening?
It's
I'm
good
happy
to see you, man.
to come in, be in the studio. It feels a lot different. Like, it's
I'm
fun
sure it
doing the
does.
show at home.
Yeah.
It's really nice, like, when I get done, maybe the 4 to 6 that I did on Thursday with you. Right afterwards, head right upstairs, maybe have a cocktail right away.
Sure.
Eat some dinner.
Like, damn, that was a good show.
Yes, look at that. It was real rough down here for 2 hours in my basement.
Yeah.
But no, nice to be in. A lot to talk about. Great
good to see
NFL
ya.
weekend. We dominated when it comes to the Pick'em Challenge, I feel like. So, I mean, life is good, Anthony. Let's be honest.
Brad, you dominated. You had, out of everyone, and there's still the game tonight, you got the 49ers and Vikings.
Yeah.
Marsh's Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
You're going to
Did
need...
you pick the Vikings?
Hell no.
No.
Come on,
That's a hard one.
That's a good thing on both sides. So everybody has the 49ers on both sides. BT led us. Mm-hmm. He led us. He led everybody. You got seven correct picks. And you might think there's only 7. It was rough. It was rough for everybody. Learn led the Rizzuto show. She had 6. And the rest of us were like a combinations of 5s and 4s. We do know, though, we're up by 1. And tonight's not going to matter because everybody's on the 49ers.
Well, they can switch their pick, though.
No, they can't. Risho wanted that to be an agreement. Go back to the Scott Air Force Base podcast that we did.
Okay.
They were crying. They say, you guys are changing your picks on Mondays. This isn't fair. You guys are cheating.
Instincts take over on Mondays.
I
Adapt
guess.
and adjust. I feel like those are the things that we do best as a team.
I agree, Brad, but apparently it wasn't good enough for them, so they wanted us to
They're more
agree.
set it and forget it. They're like the Showtime rotisserie.
Basically.
Remember that thing?
Oh, yeah.
The infomercial. You'd be up at
2
3 in the
a.m.
morning. Just set it and forget it.
I want to just set it and forget it. Well, the Rizzuto show demanded that we agree to no changes after the noon kickoff on Sunday. Marsh and Jamie were very upset with me that day. They did not want me to agree to that. What you guys didn't know is I looked to the future and I said, these guys can't beat us these guys and gal cannot beat us on Sunday. Sure, let's take away the ability to swap the picks.
Okay.
And guess what, guys? They have screwed themselves the last couple of weeks now.
Anthony, the last couple of weeks, you say?
Last couple of weeks.
Anthony, I got a real quick follow-up.
Sure.
Now, I realize that I'm not in here every day, not on the show every day anymore. I miss you, by the way.
Miss you,
Jamie,
Brad.
miss you, Marshy,
Miss your
everybody.
scent, your musk,
Miss everybody
your-
here. It's been great.
General
being here
personality.
today. That being said, I'm still part of the team when it comes to the Pick'em Challenge.
Damn right you are.
Now, wouldn't you think that as the leader of the show,
Yeah.
your show, you've made that very clear over the years.
I don't think I have once.
Wouldn't you think that maybe part of your duties as the leader would be to let me
Consult.
know?
Yeah.
No, not even consult. You've never done that. I don't expect that. But let me know what, in fact, the rules are, because I could have gone flippity-floppy the last couple of weeks. I had no idea that was a rule now. I had no clue that you couldn't flip picks anymore.
Well, listen, Brad, as a leader, as you know, you got to take responsibility for all of that, for any sort of miscommunication that goes on.
Yeah.
So I will look at you right now and tell you to your face, Marsh was supposed to tell you, so that's on Marsh. Yeah, Marsh was supposed to tell
So good
Brad
leaders do,
and
they
Carrie.
delegate.
Absolutely.
So we're finger pointing.
Yeah, I'm fingering you right now, Marsh.
What happened, Marsh? You didn't want to tell me? I want to.
You know what? I guess
Do
that's
well
on
for the
me.
team.
You
Thank
know
you.
what? I'll take responsibility.
This kid's
totally-
responsible.
I'll take accountability.
Rookie move. I'd have passed it off on Jamie, who's not here. If I were you, I would have just said, no, Jamie said he was going to call you.
Yeah.
Actually, that does sound a little bit more like
You know,
it.
it was Jamie. Yeah, that's my fault, Marsh. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Jamie.
You know what? I'm glad that you switched your mind.
Yeah. So this is all James' fault. Nonetheless, we won this week.
Good.
It's done.
That's a
We won.
kickoff of a good weekend.
Now, Marsh, you're still obviously a huge Vikings fan. Have we let BT know what the Waffle House challenge?
I don't think so.
So
you doing where you sit in the Waffle House
For 24 hours.
What's the bet?
So during
More of an
the
agreement.
preseason, I think it was the preseason or off season, we were chatting, we were doing our predictions and things like that. And I said that my Hotlanta Falcons would have more wins this season than Marshy's Vikings. And Marsh,
Were you drinking that day?
No.
It turns out you're doing okay.
stone cold sober, just an idiot, as it turns out. Maybe. Marsh was offended. He was offended by my comments, and he said, there's no bleeping way. And I think he also uttered what you just said. You must be drinking.
Yeah. Or drugs. I mean, I don't
Or
know
drugs.
what
Either
you're
way.
doing.
He wasn't accusing me, but he was accusing me. So I said, sure, name your price on this, Marsh. So the listeners came up with the Waffle House Challenge. So if the
And you
Falcons...
guys agreed to this?
We did.
It sounded really fun at the time.
So if the Falcons have more wins than the Vikings, Marsh has got to sit in a Waffle House for 24 straight hours. Each waffle that he eats, he could take 1 hour off the debt.
Yeah.
So he's a young man. He could probably put away some waffles, but still, that's going to be a long time in a Waffle House. Now, if the Vikings...
Better tip well, too. They don't need you sitting there taking up
a
their seat.
table. Exactly.
It's so busy.
Got to keep order.
It often is. Yeah. So if the Vikings win more games than the Falcones, then I have to do the Waffle House Challenge. Now, if they finish with the exact same record, Brad, or at least the exact same wins,
This is where it gets good.
Jamie has to do the Waffle House Challenge.
Was he here when you guys did that, too?
We did. He was very upset that somehow he got
how did I-
dragged into it, but
Yeah.
he accepted.
So, realistically, what made you have that sort of confidence in your right now first place Falcons at the time?
Yeah, it wasn't as much about the Falcons as much as I thought that if you look back at last year, all the one loss or all the one possession games that the Vikings won, I thought surely that was going to flip this year. And by God has it flipped, because they have every game thus far for the Vikings has been a one possession game. The Falcons also had one of the easier schedules, so I thought they did enough with the defense. They'll be fine. So long as Ritter's not fumbling 3 times in the red zone like he did yesterday.
Turns out he fumbles a lot. Most turnovers in football.
In the history of the game, I think, at this
Well,
point.
he's competing with the Vikings' entire team.
He should be on Minnesota the way he's playing. I thought they'd be fine. Turns out, so far, things are good.
Well, and that's the thing that I didn't account for was the fact that your Falcons play in one of the worst divisions in football.
That's correct.
So
You got to factor that in.
You know, I can't see the future like you can. Unfortunate.
It's about the only skill set I have.
You really got to look at the whole bet when you're doing it. So do you think that knowing this, because everybody likes a Waffle House waffle,
No
right?
doubt.
And they're fantastic. All the food, it's great.
Yeah.
Do you think that after you do a challenge like that, you end up just hating waffles for
Probably,
quite some time?
yeah.
Because, I mean, you're going to try to knock off as many hours as you want. You're not going to go sit down, have one waffle, and spend 23 hours there.
No.
Yeah.
I think they'd rather you not.
I've actually stayed away from waffles because I'm just gearing up for the fact that I'm probably going to have to take down 24.
What a loser's mentality. I mean, really? Yeah, I would be eating waffles every day because you should feel like you have enough confidence in your team that you will never have to eat those at the end of the season.
you make a
Just
bad
backfire?
point.
Sure.
Justin
Sure it could.
Jefferson's out.
Yeah, but Desmond Ritter's your quarterback.
Next man up. Hey, you're the Falcons, okay? I've
Damn
seen you
right.
cry in my basement. over your Falcons.
I was ham sauce, though.
Well.
And did I yell at your neighbors that night while packing up the car? I certainly did.
Said some expletives.
I
in the
was
neighborhood.
mother bleeping everybody that night.
Wasn't
I certainly
their fault.
was.
At halftime?
No, it wasn't. Oh, no, not at halftime.
Oh,
at
after
the
the
end, after the game.
I thought you left at halftime when they were winning.
No, he sunk deeper into my couch where you thought he was gone at halftime.
That wasn't until the fourth quarter.
It was like he just kept. I didn't know the couch was that cushy.
Yeah.
But you just kept going further and further. You were like, it was like the Homer Simpson meme.
Oh,
But it was
totally.
like you into my couch. You just kept sinking.
Boy, if we had a camera on me that
Sad.
night, we were running. Dylan, Brad's son, Dylan, what was he, 5, 6 at the time? He wasn't that old.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Because Maddie
you had
was
them all
like
excited.
just born.
Yeah.
And Dylan and I were running. Every time the Falcons scored, we'd run around the basement. He stopped running midway through the third
He
quarter.
got some life lessons, too.
He certainly did.
Switch teams? You know, kids, like, if they're not...
He was rooting for the Falcons with me.
Was he? Okay.
Wasn't Dylan's fault. He believed.
Well,
team
until you, I mean, again, life lessons, right? Like cheer, football can make you happy. It's a sport. It's supposed to be an escape for people.
Yeah.
And then you sat him down. Said, Dylan, this is what it's like.
Yeah.
This right here is what it's like being a fan. Okay?
Not a fan.
A Falcons fan.
Exactly.
A blanking Falcons fan. To my 5-year-old.
Yeah.
He's like, and then he went to school, and we actually got a note sent back. Say, hey, Dylan told us what it's like to be a blanking Falcons fan. So clean it up.
Clean it up a little bit. When Uncle Tone's over, let's clean it up a little bit. All right, we got a great show for you planned. We got a bounce back win for the Blues that we're going to get into. We're going to talk about how this is already a successful season, obviously for City SC, although nobody should be satisfied. Okay, you're not a regular season champ. You win. You don't win the conference. You win.
Gotta be honest,
you win it
fairly,
all.
I called Marshy a loser a minute ago. Didn't mean it for his mentality.
Yeah.
I'm kind of satisfied where City is at right now.
All right, we'll clean up Brad's attitude 2:30 then, since we're going to talk about that then. A lot of football to discuss. What a wicked day that was yesterday. We'll get into the Dolphins and Eagles. We'll get into what the hell happened to the Bills on the road against the Patriots. Jamie decided not to show up today. Really because of the upcoming Blues schedule, but I also think he avoided us because he's been beating that Lions drum for a while. Not great yesterday in Baltimore, so we'll get an NFL Week 7 takeaways. But again, bounce-back performance last Saturday night by the Blues as they knock off the Penguins. What was different about that game compared to the Coyotes game? We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN.
Toropchenko over the line for Sundqvist. The Toropchenko and denied by the right pad of Jari. Back to the point. Parayko bomb. Score! Colton Parayko let it fly. 3-1 Blues.
You know, he's a big guy, strong, that can really move, you know, and he's using his feet extremely well and his shot. You know, he's looking to shoot all the time, and, you know, he's ready to shoot. And obviously his feet, skating, closing plays out, but getting a puck and moving right away with it.
That was Craig Berube talking about Pete Alonso. Big, strong guy. I didn't realize that Pete was playing for the Blues.
Could put a guy in the hospital if he wanted to.
Certainly.
Say that right now.
It was either Pete or Colton Parayko.
Same guy, basically.
Same guy, basically. Yeah, absolutely. That's Brad Thompson. He's in for the entire show today. You can watch us via the Air Alliance Team YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. You can always get a hold of us.
Back, by the way.
Yeah. Wait, what back?
The YouTube channel.
Oh.
Got suspended for
until
nudity, I heard.
Marsh. Yeah.
Happens.
What?
Got a lot of money off that,
this
though.
isn't his OnlyFans. We got to make sure he gets his streams correct.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Anyways.
Seems to be a theme around here.
A little bit. So you can always reach us via the Air Comfort Service text line as well, 314-399-9646, or leave us a mic drop via the free app, free 101 ESPN app. So the difference between the Blues game on Saturday against the Penguins, tougher opponent, than Arizona. I don't think it was because Joel Hofer played one game and Jordan Binnington played the other, although I think it has to do a little bit with that because Binnington was once again outstanding.
He's been unreal.
He has been filthy good. The Penguins generated a lot of opportunities in front of the Blues net again. I think that continues to be an issue. The middle of the ice, and I'm not talking about the neutral zone, I'm talking about the middle of the ice in front of Binnington, continues to be a bit of a problem. But Binnington has been so good, they've overcome it. The difference on Saturday was you finally put the biscuit in the basket. The offense had been a huge issue in the early going there.
You think?
A little bit, Brad, a little bit. You lost the shootout in Dallas, and then you turned around and you beat the Kraken in a shootout. But your offense, you couldn't generate anything. Curbs had a cut or an audio line in that game on Saturday, where as soon as they scored, the Blues scored the first goal. He goes, again, he gives them the first lead of the season.
It's like, what?
Not great.
No.
But you generate enough shots offensively. Colton Parayko has been outstanding. Binnington has been outstanding. And it's good to see the Blues beat a quality opponent in Pittsburgh on Saturday night.
Look, I don't have the keenest eye for hockey. Never have. Okay? I do, let's be honest.
You dumb it down for us. We appreciate it.
It certainly appeared. Yeah, Jamie gets into the weeds a little bit with some of the stuff, you know. Yeah. I try to just make it very basic for you, Marshy.
Thank you.
So I'll be very basic here. The Blues appeared to be way faster than the Penguins, and they're not a speedy team. Are the Blues a fast team? They got a couple of fast guys.
Kyrou.
But they're not a fast team. But were they faster than the Penguins? Because it seemed like they were just beating them to spots, and that ends up being a big difference. And that's kind of what Craig Berube wants, right?
Yeah, it's a good call. I feel like the Blues played faster with the puck, which is which was the emphasis from Craig Berube early on here. Even if you're not a fast team, you can play fast with the puck.
That's what Jamie always says. He says that Craig Berube wants his team to play fast. And Brad, you make a great point. They're not a fast team, but when you put pucks in certain areas and you make the first pass, you create speed through the neutral zone, you can catch teams off guard. And Pittsburgh, they are one of the older teams in the league. Even though Sidney Crosby, I saw a graphic Saturday night, Sidney Crosby, out of like the top 5 players with the most speed, 4 of them were Blues players, and Sidney Crosby was the only Penguin, which I found that to be interesting, given that he's one of the older players in the league.
That's both a hat tip to Sidney Crosby for still playing at a high level and still have that elite skill, and also oh my God, we've got to get some more speed on this team if you're the Penguins.
How long can you have a nickname of the kid? As a professional athlete?
I think that sticks with you regardless of your age.
Ken Griffey Jr., still a kid, right?
Exactly.
He's in his 50s.
He is.
Probably well into him.
Always the kid, though.
Like when he dies, you can be like, the kid.
The kid.
He's
Why'd you
lived
call
a
him
good
kid?
life at 100. Yeah. He's still the kid. I just didn't know if there was a cutoff for something like that.
No, I don't think there is. And by the way, I miss, since you brought up the kid, I missed the 90s argument, which was always Griffey or Bonds. And everybody said Griffey. Every single person. Nobody said Bonds, ever. Then he started to take his vitamins. And then I think a lot more people said Bonds.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Right now, Griffey or Bonds? Bonds.
Bonds.
Yeah.
Honestly.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you look at Bonds'
Checkered past. Okay. Get it. Cheated? Sure. Incredible? Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy I want up in a spot. You going the kid?
I don't know. I'm just thinking, who did more for the game? Bonds or Griffey?
Well,
Griffey got
you get into
the youth into it.
Yeah, but
He made it cool. Griffey made baseball cool.
yes, with the
agree.
the catches, you climbing, scaling the wall and all that. But
I think of a modern day Ken Griffey Jr. in terms of swag. I think of Bryce Harper.
yeah, Bryce Harper is
Sweet
so
left-handed
fun to watch.
swing.
Is there a lefty? I mean, I'm sure there is, but is there a lefty with a bad swing? I feel like every good lefty
I feel like my swing's pretty bad.
has a beautiful
It is
swing.
I don't know what it is about it, but it's a pretty.
You know what I'm
short-
saying?
No, I do.
Like when I saw Will Clark for the first time, I go, "That's one of the best. That's just a pretty swing." When does a right-hander have a pretty swing?
You're not allowed to.
know.
Just hit the ball.
You just hit the ball.
Just do your job.
Craig
Do your
Counsell
job.
had a weird batting stance.
So Craig Counsell had an ugly swing.
Yeah.
Marshy, look at my computer right now.
As Brad pulls up Craig Counsell.
Craig Counsell. It was up here
Yeah,
over
what are we
his
doing? Or
he's
Euclid?
playing peekaboo. Euclid gives me some bad.
Did he
bad
take
night.
you,
No,
Dee?
he didn't take me. He was part of the. We've told the story about me knocking myself out, but he was part of the build-up to the 3-run home run by Poppy that ended up me punching myself and knocking myself out.
That was at Fenway?
Yeah, no, Euclid hit one double off the wall, and it felt like that wall was just sitting on my shoulder. And he's got that stupid with his hands up,
Well, it's probably
splitting the
a
bat.
fly out, though, to any other ball.
I don't think so. I mean, it was still going up. But
How loud was the sound when it hit the wall?
I mean, it's a huge
Like
thump.
one of those.
I picture it for you, just for a comp, Anthony, of how loud was it when you swam into the pool wall?
It must have been pretty loud.
That's what
I
I'm saying.
reverberated.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah, because I fired off that wall pretty good.
Yeah. So, anyways, I don't know how we got here with swings, but I do want to bring it back really quick to your point of the. I think there's a difference in playing style, right? Of fast and quick, because quick to me, quick is mental. You already know ahead of time when the puck is coming to you. What am I doing with it?
Sure.
Where am I going? And quick also has to do with trust in your line mate that they're going to be where they're supposed to be, and trust that you've put in all the work behind the scenes that you don't have to wait that extra second because you don't think he's going to be there. To me, that is one of the biggest things, and it's going to take a while to feel like that all the time. But I think that we saw a little bit of that with the Blues here against the Penguins.
And it certainly wasn't the case against Arizona because everything was clunky.
Oh, I mean, that actually, I think that they forgot how to play for a game. Happens. Happens.
They took a day. They took a night off so they could beat the Penguins.
Whole mental. That's a tough team to play.
Yeah.
I wonder how much confidence that they have with Jordan Binnington in net, that they can make some mistakes.
Say it, Marsh.
What?
Say it.
They like their goalie.
And who don't they like?
Well, I don't know if they don't like Joel Hofer yet, but I wonder if
That's
it's going
the
to take...
argument, though, right?
Well, I mean,
we're doing it already.
There's some people...
Hofer's first game of the season, they don't like him?
Some people are throwing that around. I'm not gonna name names, but I wonder if it will take a few games for them to sort of get a little confidence in making mistakes and having him be there. I thought he played well against the Coyotes. Obviously, there's a few goals he'd probably like back, but overall, I thought he kept that game from getting way out of control. Not that it wasn't, but I mean, I'm just floating it out there. Obviously you took it and you made it something.
I
But
see where you're going with this. So the as Marsh would say it, Jordan Binnington, the Blues goalie that they do like, he kicked out 31 of 33 shots in that 4-2 win. Blues up 3-1 heading into the third period. Penguins, they this is what good teams do. They ramp it up in the third period. They outshot the Blues 10-4 in the final frame, but Binnington held on, secured the win, man, and he's been fantastic. 2-0-1 record, 126 goals against, and a .959 save percentage through 3 appearances. A small sample size, as they would say, but that small sample size looks fantastic.
Nothing has changed, right? The goal is sneak in, basically, if you can. I'm looking to win this conference here.
For the Blues?
Yeah,
I
sneak
think,
in.
to me, the expectation should be rebound from last year, which is just make the playoffs. That's my... Based on, like, the roster, where you were a year ago, the cap limitations, I think if you always want to win big, but heading into the season is make the playoffs.
I think the expectation should be number one in the West. You already see one team down the street doing it.
All right. And that's St. Louis City SC, baby.
Who should be pretty happy with where they're at.
No.
Just saying.
Expectations changed because of what City did.
You're setting the bar pretty high, Anthony.
We're going to clean up Brad's attitude on City next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues bounce back on Saturday, taking down the Penguins by a final score of 4-2. They'll take on the Jets tomorrow night. Pregame starts at 6:45. Puck drop is at 7:45. Catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. The Rangers and the Astros Game 7 winner goes to the World Series. We'll see who comes out of that one tonight. The Phillies also looking to close out the Diamondbacks tonight in Game 6 in Philly. Tonight we have Monday Night Football, 49ers taking on my Minnesota Vikings. Pregame starts at 6:30. You can listen to that right here on 101 ESPN. And over the weekend, City SC lost to the Seattle Sounders in the final game of the regular season, 2-0. We'll talk about them coming up next and their journey heading into the MLS playoffs. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Should the expectations change now for St. Louis City SC based on what we know, which is that they finished the regular season with the third most goals, 62. Third best goal differential, Brad, with plus 17.
It's pretty good.
Third most interceptions with 356. And third most wins with 17 in the MLS this season. Coming into the year, I think all of us said, hey, it's going to be a fun season.
Let's learn soccer.
Let's learn soccer.
You said. I was like, I'll teach you, big boy.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Brad. All the time that you had spent with me, it certainly paid off.
Gosh, we kicked it around.
Yeah, we did. We certainly did. We thought to ourselves, let's have a good inaugural season. You'll sell the place out because this is a St. Louis is a hotbed.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun. This is going to be a fun No, this team's pretty good.
They're really good.
I think the expectations change.
But you always do this, Anthony.
Let's win the whole damn thing.
I love that idea.
Let's win that MLS Cup.
I don't want to push against winning the whole freaking thing. Is it called the MLS Cup?
Let's drink from the MLS Cup.
Is it a cup? Is it a jug? Is it a trophy? Big trophy?
Absolutely.
Should be a big trophy. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
The thing is, Anthony, and I'm with you. You're in a position to go win. Love that. But you always move the goalpost, don't you?
No.
Mister, oh, you did that, and you did.
That's how you motivate.
That's Bradley Cornell's job to do. He's in there. He can move them all he wants. Or the goal itself if he wants, not just the post. I mean, the whole damn thing, move it. But you got to be very happy. If they get bounced in the first round, okay? Not happy.
Disappointing season.
You're out.
First round, you bounced?
It happens.
No.
It happens. So they're still waiting on who they're going to play, right? This is Wednesday's the wild card game. It's going to be San Jose, Kansas City, right? So they can figure out who it is. Be Kansas City, by the way. In the first, are you kidding me?
Dropkick Murphys, first round. See ya. Come on.
Is it worse if Kansas City does it too?
Yes.
That's way worse, isn't it?
That team stinks.
And I know you're a big San Jose fan. You've been an Earthquake fan. Who calls himself the Earthquakes, by the way, in California? That seems a little.
Yeah.
That's a little much. I don't know the comp here for St. Louis, but it's something devastating. You don't really. I wouldn't.
Yeah. No.
I think it's insensitive.
Like St. Louis floods or something.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect.
Good.
That's what I was thinking about.
Yes. Yeah, I knew.
That was it.
That's the one you were thinking.
But I don't know how you could look at this year, no matter how it shakes out in the postseason, and be like, I can't. Damn that Bradley Cornell. What do you mean?
No, I'm not saying that.
All they've done has been great.
But it would be a disappointing season.
It's
you get bounced in the first round.
When you lose.
Based on what they've done, you haven't changed your expectations at all for this club. Really? Come on, Brad.
My excitement has changed, certainly.
Have you not seen Roman? Berkey's
great.
But you have one of the best keepers in the entire league.
Yes, you do.
Going into this thing, which means you have the X factor.
It's almost like having good starting pitching.
You have a different system that you also play as well, different style of play.
Yes.
Clearly, the MLS has not adjusted like we thought they were going to.
Look, we're fighting two different fights here. I'm with you. I'm Team City. and I want them to go on a run, and I want them to beat the hell out of your Earthquakes if it's your Earthquakes, or Kansas City if it's Kansas City, and just keep going and win the whole thing. The cup, you say. It makes sense.
Big cup.
But that's not the point is, if it didn't happen, you still have to look at this year and be like, yes, that was fan-freaking-tastic. How do we build off of that?
Yes. After we talk about how disappointing it was that you get bounced in the first round.
Anthony.
Marsh, talk some sense into BT.
Yeah, where are you at on this one, Marshy?
By the way, the trophy is called the Philip F. Anschutz Trophy. Maybe I'm saying that wrong.
I'll try it again.
Maybe not. So
I'll be on the dumb button.
My thoughts on this is I think you had a really great year. We got to win the whole thing.
Okay. All right. So here's the question. Okay, spinning it forward now. Okay, I'm with you. Yes, I'm team win the whole thing. Damn it, I'm not team win the whole thing. I'm just team very happy with where they're at in their inaugural season, being the first team ever as an expansion team to go on and win their conference. Like incredible what they've done.
They got to win this first series though.
Give me at least the first series.
So here's the question now. Spinning it forward. Things have not been great for City recently. They haven't. I'm just saying they haven't played their best soccer down the stretch. So how do you flip the switch, right? How do you look at all of the great things that happened early on? They've won like 1 out of their last 4 games, something like that. It hasn't been perfect. Tired.
It's fine.
What, they run a ton?
Anthony, they had like a couple weeks off.
How many miles do you think? And I'm sure that there is an actual number. And I know 30. It changes positionally. That's too high. I'm going to take the under.
30 miles probably.
I'll take the over
in a match.
I'll take the over on 10. I think maybe. That's an ish load of running.
Yeah.
That's way more running than I would ever want to do. But so how do you flip it? Because you haven't been playing your best. You haven't been racking up wins. And I know that Bradley Carnell talked about this recently. Like, this is a whole new thing. It is a whole new, there's no records anymore. So how do you snap it in? You got a lot of guys that have never been in this spot before.
When you guys won in 06, when you went into the postseason, it was 8. You guys won 83.
Yeah,
83.
It was
do you remember how you
83 wins?
Yeah, it was a solid 83, a hard fought 83.
Yeah,
83 nonetheless. What that final week? Were you guys kind of limping in a little bit?
Oh, we were fighting for our lives. Yeah, down the stretch.
Okay, so that's a little different. So you guys already had that.
And the difference
mindset.
is this was a team in 04, arguably one of the best Cardinal teams ever. Still a lot of holdovers there. 05, 100 win season, and then 06, a lot of injuries, 83 wins. So there was so much experience there with that group as well.
Yeah.
And there was great leadership at the top in the clubhouse, and obviously with Tony La Russa.
So bad comp.
Maybe.
11, same deal. They're fighting to get in.
It seems like leadership is not an issue with this club. Like Bradley Carnell, his staff, this whole group looks like they're as dialed in as they could possibly be. But flipping the switch is different. That energy is different. Now, I can't say I've never played in an MLS playoff game, but I'd have to imagine as loud as it is. And to be hosting that game, by the way, that is special.
Yeah.
But there's going to be some feels. So how do you, instead of getting caught up in that, let that drive you? Like, go out there and just attack. Because that's what this team has done all year. We had Bradley Carnell on as soon as he was named head coach. And I remember him being a guy, we got off the phone with him and be like, dude, I'd play for him.
Yeah.
Actually, we asked if we could play, if they needed us to come out there.
Yeah, you said we could go out there and tackle them.
Correct. Yeah, and he said, no, there wouldn't be a need for that, but come on out and buy tickets if you wanted.
Sure, yeah.
He did say we could do that.
It's kind of dismissive, but I understood where he was coming from.
All of the things that he said, like the style of play that they wanted to be, it wasn't going to be, hey, this is about me. This is about this one guy. There's not a Messi on the team. Like, there's not just one guy. So, well, this is the reason we win. It's this one. No, it's a group. How often do we see that where a coach and a team has an idea of what they want to be coming into the season, and then it actually like really plays out, and especially a team that we don't have a track record on? Like, kudos to them to be able to build that.
It reminds me a lot of Brad's Vegas Golden Knights in their first year. They went all the way to the Stanley Cup. Granted, they lost, but they were a team that essentially was playing with house money. We got a text from the Air Comfort Service text line saying that exact thing, that they were playing with house money. Yeah, they're a top team in the West, but I don't think a lot of people expect them to go all the way and win because they don't have that experience, like Brad was talking about with that 2006 Cardinals team.
Yeah.
Even though that the record wasn't great for you guys, like you guys still had the experience. You guys knew, hey, once this team comes together and we're all healthy, we can make something. We can make something out of this. So I think the mentality is sort of what Vegas did. Like, hey, we're just playing with house money here. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I like that. I like that mindset to kind of just relieve you of some of that stress. But Brad, you had mentioned when I talked about Roman Berkey.
Yeah.
You had mentioned it's kind of like having starting pitching.
For sure it is.
So to me, it's not unlike every other sport. If you go the baseball route, if you have suffocating defense and excellent pitching, you have a chance. Despite the randomness in baseball, you can overcome that because you have pitching and defense. In football, you get to that level in the postseason, you have to have two things: quarterback play, actually three. Quarterback play, a run game when you have a lead, and a defense. Those things like never change throughout the postseason. Basketball, I'm sure there's a comp. So really, it's about playing solid defense and Roman Berkey doing his thing. And you hope that the offense comes when you do have your opportunities. That's how I view it for City. That's what I'm looking at. So if you have those things, the leadership and the experience and all that, you can overcome it.
By the way, we get a text from the 314 before we move on here. BT, I agree with you. You have to be happy with how this season went, even if you're kicked out in the first round. You have to excuse Marsh and Anthony because they are fans of losing organizations in the Falcons and the Vikings. That's very fair.
So we should be used to that.
I was just going to say, why wouldn't you just pile on?
Right.
Like, I'd be happy too.
Also going on to say that we are just begging for one of our teams to win something, especially with how the Blues played and the Cardinals.
That's fair. I mean, I'll give you that.
It's going to be a first postseason
Does that make up
trip.
for it?
Yeah.
Does that make up for it?
Yeah,
if
darn
they
right,
go on
yeah.
and win the what was the name of that trophy again, Marshy?
Yeah, the Philip the Philip F. Anschutz.
Anschutz, that's what it was.
There
they
it is.
win that Philly.
Yeah.
They go out there and they
Special
take
Philly.
that bad boy home.
Yeah.
All is forgiven with the Cardinals, with last year with the Blues, because, I mean, they're going to go win some stuff. All is forgiven.
City. Better win.
City.
We're expecting
Too
it.
many.
Yep. NFL Pick'em Challenge, Week 7 Roundup. Biggest surprises, biggest disappointments from Sunday's action. A lot to get into. We'll start it next on 101 ESPN. Hey, when it comes to the Missouri Athletic Club, I love the daily routine that the Missouri Athletic Club provides me. So a lot of times, West Clubhouse, I go down there, get my workout in. I usually prep down there. Sometimes I get something to eat. But just involving the family is great, too. Summertimes with the pool, I've talked about, like, they've got different events going on during the month. So this month it's trunk or treat when it comes to the family. Other events, such as the speaker series that they have a lot of times at the downtown spot, there's always something to do with the Missouri Athletic Club, whether it's for you as an individual, you as a couple, or you as a family. It's a great spot. That's Miami C, Missouri Athletic Club.
Hello, St. Louis. This is Sam Londoff, and for over 80 years, Johnny Londoff Chevrolet has been an automotive leader in the St. Louis area. Right, Dad?
Are you kidding me? I'm proud that we're selling vehicles to the third and fourth generations of many families.
When you buy a vehicle from our family, you can be sure to get the best price and the best service.
We want to continue the Londoff commitment to making the car buying experience fun.
So if you've never been or you just haven't been in a while, stop by and say hello or shop 24/7 at londoff.com.
Johnny Londoff, the name you know, the dealer you can trust.
Johnny Londoff Chevrolet.
After a big dinner, my nighttime heartburn would keep me up. I'd be taking antacid after antacid all night long. But then I tried Prilosec OTC. Just one pill a day blocks my frequent heartburn for a full 24 hours, giving me one-and-done heartburn relief. Without heartburn keeping me up, I could have a restful night's sleep.
Prilosec OTC. One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Swift Transportation is now in your area, offering ample job opportunities for CDL drivers with regional routes that get you home often. Visit driveswift.com today.
Get ready to pick 'em. It's the Fast Lane Football Pick 'em Challenge on 101 ESPN.
Refreshed by Bud Light.
Boy, you sure know how to pick 'em.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Kind of a wild day in the NFL yesterday, so let's get into it, boys. The game or team that surprised you the most, but in a pleasant way. We're like, oh, okay. I see you. What's that team for you guys?
God, I don't feel like there were that many pleasant ones.
I've got one for you.
What do you got?
I got the Baltimore Ravens.
That didn't feel pleasant if you like the Lions. You know what I mean?
No, that's true, and I did take the Ravens. I have been saying each and every week, like, okay,
we were talking about it last week on Thursday. You were really hyping up Lamar.
Okay, I was like, yeah, he's playing well. The numbers don't indicate it. He's not in like that MVP discussion. He hasn't come out of the gates on fire, but he's been efficient. And his decision making, I think, really each and every week has been off the charts. He had a problem with turnovers, and there's several times in games where like he would take a sack, or like that Pittsburgh game when he underthrew the fade route to Odell, and Odell didn't fight back for it. Wound up being kind of a game-turning interception. There's been those moments. But otherwise, I feel as though that this version of Lamar can win multiple playoff games. The one that's running around and like he's on all these highlights, that's the one that doesn't work against stout defenses.
Football,
exactly. Yeah. Stout defenses in the playoffs. So I think Todd Monken's offense, while not generating eye-popping numbers, Lamar's been good. He's been a better version of himself in this offense. And you saw it yesterday. I mean, everything clicked yesterday.
No, I mean, and again today, I mean, that was all the talk, right? It was back to the MVP conversation with him, back to the Super Bowl conversation. That was the conversation that you and I had last Thursday.
Yeah.
Was you asked the question, will the Ravens win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson as the quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
I said no, just due to the strength of the AFC overall and a guy named Patrick Mahomes. That ends up hurting a little bit.
I've heard of Taylor Swift. I've not heard of this Mahomes.
If you tune into a Taylor Swift game, at times you will, in fact, see Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback for that team.
Oh, Oh, yeah. Okay, I get it. All right. Yeah, no, I know who you're talking about.
So he's the guy that hands the ball to her boyfriend, if that helps you at all.
Yeah, no, it does now. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so
I love the... I love
reverse engineer it.
I love the dance that Taylor did yesterday.
Oh, the chest bump at the end of it?
I think it's fantastic. What she's doing for that team is off the charts.
Yeah.
Well, Taylor Swift's boyfriend is actually averaging more yards when she is at the game versus when she's not at the game. So if you want to look at it from that perspective, she's really helping out that offense.
And a lot of people said that she was just in it for his fame and his fortune.
Agreed.
I'm not.
Well, Anthony, look at all the commercials he's doing. He's racking in that money.
I know. I think it was unfair to her though, because I think we're seeing two people that are falling in love.
But it started out as a gold digger situation. We all saw right through that.
I wasn't going to go there, but I did think it.
That's ironic, too, because she has such a good relationship with Kanye West.
Yeah, true. That's a good point. Anyways, so mine was Lamar and the Ravens.
I know the background with her and Kanye.
When he went up on the
award show?
Yeah. He grabbed the mic from. Come on. Sit down, Kanye. Anyways, so mine is Lamar and the Ravens. Pleasant surprise.
All right, I'm going to go with the opposite direction, okay? I'm going to go with the not-so-pleasant surprise.
Your biggest disappointment.
Yeah. How about your Bills?
Hey.
What in the... First of all,
the Donnie
congratulations.
Fandangos?
Congratulations to your guy. All right? Bill got number 300, and
he was excited.
Mention it after the game.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm more worried about winning games.
Yeah, but your team's not that good, so can you just revel in this?
Well, I mean, it's not open heart surgery.
Well, it seems like it has been at times for Mac Jones, but what a finish for him.
He played good.
God, you're just a ball of sunshine, aren't you?
We're on to Cincinnati.
I don't know who you play next week, but I don't think
I should have looked it up.
Anyways, but that's the one. What you talking about? A head scratcher, like that Bills team. What do we got going?
How does a New England team that could only muster about 3 points a game going into that matchup not only hang 29 on you, but also march down the field after you took the lead? So if you were watching it or you were watching the red zone, you got this feeling of, okay, here we go. Yep. Oh, there's the fumble. Bills are going to score. Yep, there. Okay. Bills escape. But instead of the Giants falling short at the goal line, which is what happened to Buffalo 2 weeks ago, New England actually punched it in. Great throw from Mac Jones to Hunter Henry to win it. Buffalo's got serious problems. They start slow on offense. Their defense, I mentioned this 2 weeks ago when they lost Matt Milano, is a completely different defense. They also lost Tre'Davious Wright. So they've got They got big time problems.
Which Tre'Davious did they lose, first of all?
White. My God, Anthony, spit it out. So they got problems on defense, but this is what happens with Buffalo. You start to put too much on Josh Allen, and then he starts to think he's got to win every single play, and it winds up, being disastrous. I think that team. I think we can cross them off right now of the Super Bowl contenders.
I know it's been a couple of years now, but how much do you think the effect of Brian Daboll leaving made on that offense overall?
I think it's pretty significant.
He's a great coordinator.
Yeah, you see, he doesn't
currently a head coach.
He doesn't call things for the Giants, but it's his offense. Yeah. It's his structure.
Big win for them, by the way.
Yeah, against the Commanders. Yeah, they bowed up when they needed to.
Sure did.
I think it makes a difference. But if you're Sean McDermott, who is the head coach, at what point do you fix this defense? Because you've had problems now the last couple of years, especially as the season is worn on, where you can't stop the run, you can't get off the field on third downs. How much responsibility goes to him, too? He is a defensive-minded coach, and you have a franchise quarterback. He's a much better coach than Brandon Staley, but you're starting to fall into the same category of you're wasting a franchise talent. Teams would die for Justin Herbert and Josh Allen, and yet these guys are finding ways to almost minimize the talent that they do have.
Well, I think that falls on Josh Allen, too. I mean,
yeah, sure.
It's not like he's, protecting the football all game long. Like, he's doing his job when it comes to turning the ball over.
You're right.
So I think it falls on both. But I said it before the season started that I think he could be on the hot seat if this team doesn't end up producing the way that people expect him to.
Yeah, and I still thought they were going to make the playoffs. I had Miami win the division. We'll get to Miami at some point today. But
that was an interesting game last night.
I thought that was fantastic. Let's get into that next. What did we learn about both teams? Because I think you can look at that matchup last night for the Eagles and the Dolphins, and you can say we learned something about both teams. We'll get into that. Dolphins, Eagles, maybe some other NFL storylines next on 101 ESPN.
People can't do it like we can do it. They can't do it like we can do it. And so I'm making my plug right there. Like, don't ban this play. Like, if everyone could do it, everybody would. Where's the camera? If everybody could do it, everybody would do it.
That's a very confident Nick Sirianni after last night's win. Of course, he's talking about the, what do they call it? The
brotherly
shove in Philly, or the tush push, as we all call it. 3:02, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Did you guys get the sense that last night's game meant a little bit more to Sirianni? I felt like his antics on the sidelines were more like, everybody's crowned you guys.
You think it was kind of
Miami? I felt like it was.
Do you think that Mike McDaniel, because we talked about him last week as well, do you think that he is liked among other coaches? Because he is kind of like the cool new kid on the block where he's out there dancing and everybody's got these, different videos of him saying funny stuff. Do you think other coaches look at him and say, Mike, okay.
I think they hate him.
I think they hate him too. he's got one of those hateable faces, too.
A little
like,
bit.
he's a guy that you get in an argument with, and he just buries you with facts and information. You're like, you walk away, but I hate that guy.
You don't walk away. You punch him right in the face, and then
Do you? Don't
get
punch
sued.
a man with glasses, do you?
You ask him to take them off so you can punch him in the face.
Excuse me, sir, could you take those glasses off just for a second?
I have a rule where I don't.
Just kind of wanted to see your whole face.
Yeah,
right before I punch you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyways, maybe there was something a little extra there.
Well, yeah, maybe. So, what did we learn last night about the Eagles? Because I think the Dolphins might be the more interesting case study. We'll ask the same question, but what do you guys think we learned about the Eagles last night, if anything?
Well, I think that the Eagles showed that they can beat you in a bunch of different ways. First of all, they're so physical. Like that defensive line against the O-line, albeit an O-line that was a little bit banged up for the Dolphins, just manhandled those guys. But overall, they handled the speed of the Dolphins well. That's all we've been talking about with the Dolphins, is how fast they are. We know that Tyreek is fast, and he ended up taking the top off of one right at the end of the first half.
That was a
Beautiful
pretty
play.
throw.
I mean, everything about it was perfect. But overall, they handled that really well. So I look at the Eagles, especially defensively, and I don't think that there's a matchup that is bad for them. If you pound the ball on the ground, they got you covered there. If you try to run it through the air, I mean, I think they're covered very well defensively. So that's the biggest thing for me. Like, that was offensively arguably the biggest test that they faced on the year, and they passed it.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Marsh?
I think they're a surgical team. I think they know exactly what they need to do in tough situations. You look at Jalen Hurts, he throws a pick last night, pick 6, right? And instead of sort of, getting down and whatever, he's like, all right, well, let's go back out there and let's do it again. Like, let's go score. And I feel like they have a really good mentality when it comes to their game plan and how they go about things. And in my opinion, I think they're still, the top team in the NFC right now.
Over the Niners? What about when the Niners are healthy? Because right now you can look at it and say, okay, Deebo Samuel's going to miss at least 2 or 3 weeks because he's got a shoulder injury. McCaffrey's supposed to play tonight, but he's got an oblique injury. Yeah, so
That's
when the Niners
question,
are healthy.
But that's the question. When the Niners are healthy, they're never healthy as the season goes on. They're always getting injured, whether it's Kittle, I almost said Greg Kittle, George Kittle.
Greg's his father.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Or his brother.
Or his brother. Or his cousin.
He's got a Greg in the family.
I'm sure.
Somebody look that up.
No
We don't
doubt.
have time, but there's got to be a Greg there. That family tree.
Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, like those guys are so injury prone. So I wonder what that's going to look like, down the stretch into the playoffs. But the Eagles, I mean, they did it last year and they're doing it again this year. I personally picked Miami to win this game because I thought that Miami was fast. They could take advantage of the Eagles also having a few injuries, but the Eagles bounce back. They have a great mentality, and I think that's going to carry them the rest of the year.
I personally picked the Eagles. So
did you now?
Real quick on
I
that.
was shocked when I found out that I actually chose the Dolphins in the pick'em pool because all last week on air I said the Eagles are going to win this game.
I tuned in a few times. You're pretty adamant.
I was pretty adamant,
You
Brad.
pulled a Jamie.
I was shocked when I looked and I'm like, oh, they didn't give me the correct amount of points. No, they did when you choose the Dolphins on accident. So
Did you choose the Dolphins early, believing that they would win, or did you actually just have like a misstep and you just clicked the wrong thing?
Brad, I really like the Eagles
Did it
all
toggle,
week.
is what I'm wondering.
might have toggled on me.
Maybe
Yeah.
that one guy that you kind of screwed over
Todd
2
Thomas?
years ago.
Todd Thomas.
Yeah, maybe he logged in and changed your pick.
That one guy?
Yeah, that happened. Yeah. Revenge is best served cold. Anyways, I think what's interesting about the Eagles, and then again we'll go to the Dolphins, I don't think we've seen the Eagles' best game yet. That is where you look at it and say, oh, okay, this team I think is capable of much more.
So what does their best game look like, Anthony?
I think offensively, they're winning in a multitude of ways. I think Jalen Hurts is probably running too much. I think they could probably do more through the passing game. Devonta Smith hasn't, like A.J. Brown obviously has been. That catch that he made last night is one of the
guys hanging on him.
You talk about the concentration. The throw was good, and that essentially sealed the game for them when you kind of think about it. But we know A.J. Brown's a beast. DeAndre Swift has added a dimension that I don't think even Miles Sanders had a year ago. So that's great. But Jalen Hurts has been turnover prone. I think they're running him too much. I think when I say the Eagles haven't played their best, maybe I should just kind of say Jalen Hurts hasn't played his best. And he's been good. He's had good moments. But you go back to the Jets game, uncharacteristic mistakes out of Hurts in that one. Last night, you had, another unfortunate pick six. When he is playing at his fullest capabilities, and he had a knee injury last night and he gutted it through, I think this Eagles team is even better than what it's shown thus far, and they've only got one loss.
Do you think, though, that's what's going to end up holding the Eagles back potentially? If anything, it's that he is, and talking about Jalen Hurts, reckless with the football. Because the only guy that's got more turnovers is your guy, who you have a Waffle House bet on, in Desmond Ritter.
Oh, D-Rid?
Yeah, he likes to get rid of that ball. To the other team.
Even when he's going into the end zone. Amazing.
But is that something that throughout the season and throughout, I mean, it's still a young career for Jalen Hurts. Does that get better? The idea of maybe hanging on to it or making better decisions. I think that with reps, that's going to get better.
Yeah, I think sometimes you have to have the mentality of it's the Belichick, let's not lose it before we can win it. And when you look out and you've got A.J. Brown and you've got Devonta Smith and you've got DeAndre Swift now coming out of the backfield and you got Dallas Goedert, who's an underrated tight end. You have all these weapons. I'm sure as a quarterback, you start to feel like you're Superman and you can constantly just put it up there. But defenses are paid to fool you. And if you're reckless with it, it doesn't matter how many weapons you have. You wind up losing games for your team. So I think that could be
Bill Belichick, Anthony. I'm going to go Bruce Arians with those weapons. I'm going no risk it, no biscuit. That's the way you go.
And maybe the Dolphins
are when you get all the turnovers.
Yeah, that's true. So I think for the Dolphins, if you flip this, so what did we learn about the Dolphins? I think for me, Brad, you had talked about the Eagles' defensive line. This Dolphins team, there's really nothing they can do when they face a stout defensive line. The beauty of the Dolphins' offense is they do what they do regardless of the time of game, regardless of the down and distance. That is their offense, and that offense is damn good. But when they face a defensive line like Philly has, if they face San Francisco, similar deal, maybe even a Pittsburgh, that's when you run into issues. The O-line was banged up. Yeah, good defenses. The O-line was banged up last night. I don't know if they had Armstead and
they didn't have two starters, and then they lost Wynn during the game early.
Even if you have the full complement, I still think Mike McDaniel's doing such a great job of hiding his O-line with those quick passes and the designed routes to get the ball upfield quickly. I think he's hiding his O-line. You can't hide an O-line against a good defensive line, and I think that's what we saw last night.
How do you get in, and I guess it's hard to overhaul everything in an offseason, but how do you have an O-line that you have to hide when you have a quarterback that's got head injuries? How does that happen? Up pretty quickly.
They're paying a lot to guys like Tyreek. They're paying a lot to some of the defensive players because they wanted to try to beef up the defense. I think eventually they'll start to draft for the O-line, and maybe then you can start to mix in some of those 5 and 7 step drops more. But they're going to beat the bad teams badly, and when they face good teams, it's kind of like, well, can we outscore them?
Do you buy into that narrative then? Because it was 5 and 24 were the combined record of the teams that they had faced coming into that game last night. Do you believe that the Dolphins are simply a team that just beat bad teams, or do you believe that they can be a good team or are a good team?
I think they're a good team that's going to lose in January. And that it happens, right? Like I don't know if they're built for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Especially with the defense the way it currently is.
Got to win in the trenches. You're just talking about
Absolutely.
that.
And I thought the defense would be better this year. They're a really good team that everybody's going to be excited about, and you're going to be worried about facing Tyreek Hill in the playoffs. But when they face good teams, if a team's got to go to South Beach, okay, maybe you win the divisional round. I don't see this team as currently constructed winning an AFC championship game or the Super Bowl.
I think they're a fun team, but I don't think they're an elite team. And we'll get into this later, but they remind me
of Oklahoma. That's who they are. They're Oklahoma. Like fun Big 12. Oh my God, look at this offense and getting the playoffs. And like, oh God, they faced the defense. Then they got bounced.
Are they allowed to do that? Did they count Mississippi's before they came after us?
In Big 12, we don't have this.
I was going to say that they're the AFC version of the Lions. Fun team. I don't know if they're elite because they haven't really been tested.
Yeah.
See, I think the Lions are going to bounce back from that beating.
And the Lions went on the road and beat the Chiefs. Granted, they didn't have Travis Kelce.
I'm over that. They also didn't have his name, Smith, or
Barry Sanders.
No, the Chiefs.
Why am I Johnson
on defense?
Oh, Chris Smith.
Yeah, no, Chris Jones.
Chris Jones.
Chris Jones. Wow,
Chris Smith. I just went with the other,
And I think
common
that
name.
should be something, too, because the Chiefs' defense has been phenomenal.
Highly underrated. You had brought that up last week, Brad, about we were doing some segment. Didn't you say, what about the Chiefs' defense?
Best defense. You picked Cleveland, which is a very good pick. 38 points. In a victory, by the way, against the Colts. Everybody saw that one coming.
Holy crap.
Still but
like what?
Statistically still right. But yeah, the defense for the Chiefs it's just overlooked because of Taylor Swift.
Yes, no doubt. Yeah, a lot of looks there for Taylor. All right. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. What World Series matchup do we want to see? Well, we got a game coming up soon here between the Diamondbacks and the Phillies. My question to you guys is there enough drama for the markets outside of Texas, Philly, and Arizona that will draw you in? Is there enough storylines? That's next on 101 ESPN. So the Phillies hoping to advance to their second World Series in as many years today against the Arizona Diamondbacks. That'll be Game 6. First pitch is at 4:07. So we'll give you updates in the second half with Brad Thompson. Filling in for Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. And then you got the Rangers and Astros Game 7.
Oh, that's what it's all about.
After the Astros came back in Game 5 on, Saturday night, it was one of those moments like in 2011 after the David Freese home run, or other times in a series where a team had a lead and then blew it late, where I thought there is no way Texas is winning last night.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
You're done. It doesn't matter. I know they had playoff Nate on the bump and all that stuff, and Texas has been a really good team. And I had said before the series, I think Texas advances the World Series. And even after the Astros came back and made it 2-2, I still said I think Texas win the series. After they lost in the manner that they did in Game 5, I thought there was no way. And the Rangers came out last night, fell behind early, fell behind after the first inning. They got the home run to tie it, and then opened up the can of whoop ass. Good for Texas. This Game 7 is going to be fascinating. My question to you guys, though, if we assume that the Phillies are going to advance, and sorry, Diamondbacks, I don't want to bury you. You still got a shot. But if we assume that the Phillies advance on one side, does it really matter from a storyline standpoint if it's Texas or Houston? And is there enough storylines outside of the state of Texas and Philly to capture an intriguing World Series for casual fans?
Man, so I think that the best storylines for me probably are with the Astros less than the Rangers. If you're a big baseball fan, you realize the spending that the Rangers did. You know what they did at the trade deadline. You know they brought in Max Scherzer and Monty and a bunch of different guys. And you know the epic season that they had. You know those things. But if you're just a fringe baseball fan, you don't know that. You just know that, the Texas Rangers, they're good now. Mm-hmm. The Astros, everybody knows the Astros. And a lot of it is still due to the whole scandal. But I think that the Astros, first of all, they're just so damn good. They're very well managed. I think Dusty Baker is one of the only likable things on the team after the last couple of years.
Maybe Yordan Alvarez.
Yeah, he's pretty good too. He is pretty good. And I like Verlander. I love watching his fans. And
is family going to be in attendance at all? Do we know?
Sure do hope so.
Right.
Who, Ben?
Yeah,
Ben.
Yeah, his brother.
Who somehow that kid always gets the interview with Justin. Don't know how he does it. But he always gets it. To me, that's the intriguing storyline nationally. I don't think the Rangers have national pull. Do you? Do you think that people look at the Rangers and say, yeah, I got to tune in to see that?
Not unless you've been watching and you see the Adolis Garcia.
You said you weren't going to say his name.
Situation.
You weren't going to bring up any former Cardinals. You told me this in the office.
It's a little tough. We're walking through a minefield.
Look,
Jordan Montgomery. You got Adolis Garcia. You got the guy you should have signed 7 years ago, Max Scherzer.
What about Nathan Eovaldi?
Well,
he was a name that was floated out there too.
I would have signed Eovaldi.
I think you really said that a lot too.
Beating his drum.
You certainly were. So, it's kind of tough to avoid that with the Cardinals connections.
Good call.
Mm-hmm.
Good call.
Is there enough star power? On the Philly side, there is. I love watching Harper. And I think Schwarber is a perfect complement to Harper and Castellanos and even Real Muto and Schwarber, kind of your quiet, unassuming players. Schwarber's just kind of what I view as just a dude that's having fun.
Yeah.
Harper, intense. Castellanos, intense. I think that's a good balance. You got star power on that side.
Well, and they have the Phillies have great dominant starting pitching.
Yep.
I think I saw a stat today. They have the best starters ERA. It's 1.48 through the first 11 games, I think it is, of the postseason. That is a record in baseball. No one has ever had a starters ERA that low. This team.
Who knew that starting pitching? It matters.
Well, they zigged when everybody else was zagging, right? They went out and got guys with stuff that strike people out. So that has worked out pretty well for them overall. To me, that's the matchup for me that I personally want to see because I think it's going to be the most entertaining is Astros-Phillies. That's why, and I want the Rangers to win because I'm sick of the Astros, but I think that's going to be the most entertaining series when it comes to Houston and Philly. No disrespect to the Diamondbacks because they have been a great story this year. Corbin Carroll is going to be an absolute star. He's already a star. This kid is sensational, and I can't wait to see tonight when he ends up getting on base. I think he stole bags at like a 90% clip this year. Does he force the issues on the bases here in a winner-go-home Game 6 for the Diamondbacks? That being said, I have zero interest to see them in the World Series. Like zero interest to watch the Diamondbacks. Like, what are you tuning in for with them? Is it to see the young Corbin Carroll? Is it the one game? Zach Gallen. Damn it! I said I wasn't going to say stuff. Is that the one? Like you know, he'll be in the MVP race, but what are you tuning into? What's the draw for the Diamondbacks?
There is no draw. You nailed it with the Phillies and Astros. I wouldn't mind watching the Rangers. I'm a big Bruce Bochy fan. I think that'd be fun to watch.
Me
but
too.
Here's the thing. And I've said this for a long time. You need somebody to root for and somebody to root against. The Astros make the Phillies likable, which is really hard to do.
See, I don't find the Phillies that unlikable.
That's what I'm saying. Well, but I think if you're looking at it from a baseball standpoint, not a baseball standpoint. If you're looking at it from outside of Philly, you look at the fans. You look at like some of even the way that they built the roster, and you may look at it and say, Phillies. Let's root for David. But when it comes to the Astros, they're so easy to root against that it makes the Phillies even more likable than maybe they already are this year. So I think that is the matchup you almost need if you're Major League Baseball.
I agree with both you guys. As much as I'd like to see the Rangers, I would love to see Adolis Garcia in the World Series. I think it would be fun to watch what he could do. And Jordan Montgomery, too. I think those guys, they deserve to be on that stage. I want to see what they could do.
I just don't think Adolis can handle the moment. That's the thing.
Yeah, what has he done in a spot like that?
He had a grand slam last night after being booed after striking out, but
4 times.
Yeah, but
it stinks. That's why the Cardinals get rid of him.
Exactly. But when I think of a Phillies Astros rematch, it reminds me of the 2008-2009 Penguins Red Wings when they went back-to-back in the Stanley Cup, and the Red Wings got the best of the Penguins. That series was all right. I think it went 6 games, but then the Penguins came back the next year, beat the Red Wings in 7 games. It was a great series. It also reminds me of the Warriors beating the Cavaliers. Not a great series, but then the next series was when LeBron and Kyrie came back 3-1, went 7 games, and then they won. So they traded... they traded shots there in the championship round, and then obviously they played 2 more years in a row, but whatever. But I'm hoping to get something similar to that because, baseball needs something like this. I believe tonight is the first Game 7 in 3 years.
Wow.
If I saw that correctly on Twitter, I just feel like we need some jump to this World Series, and I think the Phillies and the Astros bring that.
So you talking about the hockey comp, to me, you don't have to be a baseball fan to be interested in a Game 7.
Exactly.
For me, I'm not the biggest hockey fan. You got a Game 7, I'm going to watch because I love winner go home. I love the emotions that go into it, the drama that is in a game like that. So I wholeheartedly agree. Tonight is going to be fantastic. I actually kind of hope that the Diamondbacks win again tonight so we can get another Game 7. Get 2 of them. Get one in the NLCS as well. But the Phillies, and we talked about this down the stretch, the Phillies they don't have a weak spot. Maybe Craig Kimbrell at the back end. That's the one that you look at, the meltdown. How does he bounce back from that one? Because, woof.
That game was over.
Boy, that
should have been.
That does scare you when if he's going to be out there on the mound, game is on the line. Does that one back up on you a little bit? But overall, they're good. Get it real quick, Anthony. Got a really interesting text. Maybe it's something we talk about a little bit later. But this is a guy to the text line, by the way, 314-399-9646. He says he got into an argument with someone this weekend who said they wouldn't be happy if Nolan Gorman became Kyle Schwarber, that he should be a lot better. I think that we should be over the moon if Gorman became Schwarber. Where are you at on that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Have you seen what, first of all, what you're trying to, ultimately, when you pay a free agent big time money, what are you paying for? In my opinion,
production.
production and consistency, right? You know, barring injury and all that, you're paying for the known. You're paying for the consistency. Schwarber is who he is, and who he is a consistent power threat at the top of your order. Absolutely. If Gorman he turns out to be Schwarber, you'd be thrilled with that.
And the idea of him being Schwarber, obviously, is high power, low batting average, tons of strikeouts. I believe Schwarber led the league in strikeouts the last 2 years.
I don't remember any time he struck out. I remember when he hits the moonshots.
Exactly. Like that's all I think about with him. By the way, Nolan Gorman's head and shoulders a far better defender than Schwarber. We know that. You put him in left field right now, he's going to be a better defender, in my opinion. So I don't think that you have to worry about that. I think that this lineup would be just fine if he, in fact, is Kyle Schwarber.
Same. By the way, when he hit the home run to lead off the game the one night, Brad, I was hoping he hit his face on the scoreboard so that it would replace yours, the Russell Branyan home run.
I don't think anybody will let that replace mine.
I was hoping, though.
I appreciate that.
It's kind of like now, like when the Vikings came back and beat the Colts last year in that epic comeback. That's the comeback we think of now in the NFL. That's the one we should only be talking about when it comes to comebacks in the NFL.
For some reason.
I think we got college football week 8 recap. Mizzou.
Patriots.
Mizzou doing well. Really well.
M-I-Z.
Z-O-U. Are we to the point now where we're not expecting Mizzou to, Mizzou.
Did you just make them a verb?
Mm-hmm. I certainly did.
Mizzou it?
Mizzou fans know what I'm talking about. Also, some big-time teams either lost or escaped narrowly. That's next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues bounce back on Saturday, defeating the Penguins 4-2. They'll take on the Winnipeg Jets tomorrow. 6:45 pregame show, 7:45 puck drop. You can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. Also, over the weekend, City SC lost to the Seattle Sounders by a final of 2-0. They will take on either Sporting KC or Anthony's San Jose Earthquakes on Sunday. Start time for that one is at 9 p.m. We talked earlier about City SC. If you missed anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. The Rangers and Astros will duke it out tonight. Game 7 of the ALCS. And the Phillies look to close out the Diamondbacks as well in Game 6. Also tonight, Monday Night Football. 49ers and Vikings. Pregame starts at 6:30. Catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. Now it's time to dive into some college football. That's coming your way next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Are you guys to the point where you're watching a Mizzou game or going into a game, whether it's the Kentucky game from last week or South Carolina this past Saturday, and Mizzou takes care of business 34-12. Brad, good teams win. Great teams cover. Damn right, and Mizzou covered easily. Our fade or follow guy won, so congratulations to him. When it comes to Mizzou, though, do you guys look at it and say, well, I think we're past they're going to Mizzou this one?
Yes.
Oh, then you're not.
I said yes.
Yeah, but your eyes said something differently.
No.
So you're doing it now.
What do you mean?
Well, your voice, your inflection's different.
Oh, look, I'm a pretty good poker player. Pretty good poker player.
Your eyebrows are going all over the place.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Past that.
So that's a no. Marsh.
Obviously.
Being at the stadium, Faroe Field, I didn't get that vibe at all. Right from the get-go, I knew that team was winning.
You're drunk.
Well, I was a little bit. I had some fun, but I didn't get that vibe at all this past week, and I think that says a lot about where this team is heading. Now that could change in 2 weeks when they play Georgia.
Well, but that's the difference with the expectations. Like that game against South Carolina, to your point, Anthony, that was one where maybe in the past you'd say, all right, well, this is a game they should win. And then all of a sudden you look up at halftime, you're like, what the hell?
How?
They're supposed to win this game.
Right.
And they actually took care of business.
Yep.
Like, I feel like they have made some enormous strides. Really helps out when you have very solid quarterback play, which they do. They've got weapons. Luther Burden, kid is an absolute stud.
Yep.
They run the ball well, but they don't shoot themselves in the foot, Anthony. And that's one of the biggest differences over the years that we've seen. So it's a pretty big milestone. That 7th victory, going in on a high. Got a bye week, and then you face the number 1 team in all the land. And you'll figure out where the chips fall on that one, but impressive win, even though it was a win they were supposed to have.
I was impressed how they did it too, because if you looked at it, we talked about South Carolina. South Carolina was hemorrhaging yards through the air, and Mizzou, if I said, Brady Cook was 14 of 24 for 198 yards.
That's not enough. They lost.
I would say, oh my God, did he get hurt?
Yeah.
Or, oh wow, they lost. No, they rushed for 220 yards.
Yeah.
They didn't have to throw the ball. And when you don't have to throw the ball, you can control the game from the outset. And that's what they did. So great job by Mizzou. They held Spencer Rattler to only 5.4 yards per attempt. Fantastic. They shut down the running game, which that happened early too. You jump out to a 14-0 lead. You make the opponent one-dimensional. Mizzou did everything right on Saturday, and I do think we're kind of past that. The loss to LSU was not Mizzouing it. Like that was a great back and forth game, and unfortunately that you lost because LSU had more speed.
Sometimes you're going to lose some football games.
Yeah. But other than that, I don't tune into like a South Carolina game and say, you know what, this is when they I worry about.
What do you guys attribute that feeling to now? Is it just that Eli's been there long enough now? He has built the football team that he wanted, and now they're a very sound team? Like, what is it for you?
For me, it's what you said before. They got great quarterback play.
Yeah, helps.
When you look at the early games, I felt we all were. We were complaining about you're throwing sideways constantly, and some people were like, they're not opening up the playbook. Why? Get this thing rolling. And I think it clicked against Kansas State. They opened things up a lot more, and they wound up with a quarterback playing immensely confident right now in Brady Cook, and he can kind of rest up some of his nagging injuries the next 2 weeks, and we'll see what happens with Georgia.
I'm surprised, and maybe it's just because of early season, what you're talking about, the fact that it was limited in the passing game, and a game like that against South Carolina, we didn't throw for a ton of yards.
Mm-hmm.
Only 6th in the country in yards
He's
right
been
now.
fantastic.
Like that, and he's up there obviously with the Heisman names that are throwing for big time yards. He's been awesome, and he's got weapons.
Great. Expanding into the rest of the college football slate. We sat there on Friday, Marsh, you and Jamie, and we talked about this Ohio State-Penn State game. Mm-hmm. And to a man, I don't understand the love for Penn State in this one. I know Penn State's got a good defense. Penn State can't throw the ball more than 4 yards. Mm-hmm. I did not see them going into the shoe and beating Ohio State. Now, granted, Penn State's defense kept them in it. But when push came to shove, and I'm a big in-the-trenches guy. I'm a big, when you have a lead, run the ball. But Marvin Harrison Jr. was one of the biggest differences. Marvin Harrison Jr. played for Ohio State. He did not play for Penn State. And Ohio State won that game. Otherwise, Penn State's issues, you can't get in a 3rd and 8 and think you're going to get your quarterback to perform at a high rate on 3rd down.
Unless you're the Steelers and you're playing the Rams.
The Steelers. That's an enigma to me. But
good thing they couldn't review that.
Oh boy,
for the old Steelers. Didn't quite look like they got that first down.
No, I didn't. I thought for sure we're going to get like a Matthew Stafford two-minute drill. I was kind of hoping for it, but anyways, good win by Ohio State. This to me eliminates Penn State from any sort of conversation with the playoffs.
And that's where I was going to spin it for you, Anthony, as you were watching some of the games, and there were some tight ones with some ranked teams. Mm-hmm. Who saved their bacon, do you think, the most over the weekend? Ranked team who you believe has a chance to be in the mix?
That's a good question. Florida State. You look at that game on Saturday night, if you just looked at the box score, Florida State played Duke. Florida State won, let me get the final for
38-20.
Thank you, 38-20. Look, Florida State took care of business.
Fourth quarter.
Was much closer. Much closer than the final score.
They were down 3 going into the fourth quarter.
And they were fortunate to be down 3 because they got a big kickoff return for a touchdown in the first half. Otherwise, Florida State kept shooting itself in the foot. They were going. Jimbo Fisher was out. He was outsmarting himself constantly. He was going for it on 4th down. Back-to-back drives, went for it on 4th down in Duke territory. Didn't get either. Duke went right down the field, made it 10-0 early, and you could just tell the game was slipping away a little bit from Florida State. And as you mentioned, Brad, 3rd quarter comes around, not much action from Florida State, and then they just opened up the floodgates. And the fact that Duke had some injuries, specifically at quarterback, where Riley Leonard was banged up, and I think he's an NFL quarterback, by the way. Duke just couldn't maintain. The other team I thought saved itself was Alabama. Yeah. Alabama did not look great again in the first half. Milroe again, right out of the gates. Turnovers, bad performance, taking sacks in horrible spots. Alabama was down 20-7, but that defense shut down Tennessee in the second half, and Alabama wound up rolling. No pun intended. But Alabama and Florida State, I think, were the 2 teams that
really
saved
good.
itself.
They had 3 other teams, too. Washington barely gets past Arizona State.
15-7.
15-7, yeah.
They're down 7-3 heading into the fourth quarter.
And I was about to say that's Washington's probably the answer to that, Brad. How? Why?
It's a 1-6 Sun Devil team.
When those two face each other, throw the records out the window.
You wouldn't think so, Brad.
That's what they've always said.
Penix, well, it's the thing. Like Michael Penix Jr. almost cost himself the Heisman on that one. He certainly didn't do anything to win it, but he threw one that got tipped and intercepted when they were going in the end zone the one time. If you turn the ball over, it doesn't matter who the opponent is. You're going to give them a chance. And Washington proved it. I really like Washington. I was actually glad to see them come back and win that one because I don't want them eliminated because I think they're much better than what they showed. But my word.
Oklahoma also.
UCF.
Yeah, they had to come back against UCF.
They won by 2.
There's a lot of tight games.
And Texas.
I mean,
my Longhorns, Anthony.
Yeah.
Yep, you've been a long-suffering Texas Longhorns fan last 2 years or so. USC, see ya.
Well, I was just about to say, you mentioned the Heisman and how Michael Penix Jr.
Done.
Caleb Williams, he ain't winning. He ain't winning the Heisman.
It's done.
And I want to get your guys' thoughts on him being the number 1 pick with all that stuff going on about him wanting equity in the team.
I hope that's just a goofy rumor. I really do. Because he hasn't said it, right? We just saw the reports. As long as
he's came out and said that.
As long as he hasn't said it.
He's not that stupid, is he?
I wouldn't think so. But if you're watching, so let's just take this. Deshaun Watson is a dumpster fire right now.
Mm-hmm.
They gave him a guaranteed. So an owner stepped out of the norm and gave him a guaranteed contract. And Deshaun Watson looks like a guy that knows you can't touch me.
Well, yeah,
I'll save the joke.
He could have played.
Yeah,
he could have played the rest of that game.
They didn't want him to go back in.
His shoulder hurts.
He cleared concussion protocol.
Yeah, but
they didn't want him to go back in.
Did they not want him to play, or did he not want to play?
Okay, either. If he did, if it's the latter, you're proving my point. So if you're an owner, you're not going to do anything unorthodox. You haven't taken a snap. I hope that rumor is just so far-fetched it's not true. But Caleb Williams, unfortunately, I still think he'll be the number 1 overall pick. But you can't call your shots now, man.
So if in fact he's out there trying to call his shots, do you see Caleb Williams being a guy that just, all right, well, USC's out of it. I'm going to shut it down and get ready for the draft?
A lot of people are saying that.
Here's another scenario. If you don't like some of these teams and there was a rumor before that he had like a list. Maybe he just goes back to USC. He's going to get paid.
He'll make his money.
He's going to make his money. So maybe you wait. I don't know. The Caleb Williams situation is going to be very interesting moving forward.
There's a lot of people saying that he's the best quarterback at the college football level, ever. Some people are saying that. He's never even been to a college football playoff.
No.
How can you say that?
He's a really good player, but he's not Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was one of the only guys in the last 15 years where you say that guy's going to do it. Like he's going to make it.
Well, him and Tim Tebow.
Him and Tebow were the only 2 guys where you looked at and say they're
going to have long NFL careers.
Yeah. And Manziel, Johnny Manziel too. There's a list. There's a list of guys.
He could shake and bake.
Yeah, he certainly could. Narrative or reality. We'll play that next on 101 ESPN. So, Brad, I know that you've been following the college football season, the NFL season. You know what starts tomorrow night, though?
The NBA.
The NBA, that's right. You could jump into the NBA action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers can bet $5. That's right, only $5, and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers get 3 months of NBA League Pass courtesy of FanDuel, and they place a $5 bet on the NBA. That way, Brad, you can watch all the action as you bet on everything from point spreads to player props.
Yeah, get in on it, right? Maybe you're not a hardcore NBA fan. Well, put a little change on it. Have a little fun with FanDuel. You got Lakers and the Nuggets. You got the Suns and the Warriors. Primetime players out there. You do not want to miss out on your chance to get $200 in bonus bets plus 3 months of the NBA League Pass. Can't beat that. No. All the games on that bad boy.
You're watching
all you
anyways.
Do, right? Exactly. Visit FanDuel.com/fast. That's FanDuel.com/fast and tip off the NBA season in the right way. 21 and over, present in Illinois. New customer offer. First online real money wager only. Refund issues not withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. All customers offer $5 NBA wager required. Limit 1 pass per customer across both offers. Restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See full terms for both offers at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. NBA League Pass. Local blackout restrictions apply. Boy, that was a long one.
Before we get into some narrative or reality, we have your chance right now to win a pair of tickets to see Metallica next Sunday night, November 5th at the Dome at America Center. Metallica playing a huge no-repeat weekend next Friday and Sunday with 2 different sets and 2 different opening acts. You can text in right now to win free tickets at 314. Brad, put your
I
phone
love
down.
Metallica.
I know you do. You're not eligible.
I'm not eligible.
You work here.
So what? A lot of people work here.
You're not eligible for the tickets, Brad. Just put it down. 314-399. My rider, just to ignore the Las Vegas text that's about to come in. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. Here's your trivia question. If you're listening earlier, you have a chance to win. We debated whether or not a certain nickname is still right to use the older you get. So even if you're an older person, can this nickname still be applied to you? What's the nickname?
I do know that.
Text in, not Brad, 314-399-9646. 2-night tickets and single show tickets are both on sale. Brad, you can buy them.
Does first person win?
Nope. Get all the 101st texter wins. Get all the details and find a bonus chance to win a pair of free tickets for Metallica now at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 ESPN mobile app.
Does Mike Ryder pick those out?
Yes, he certainly does. Yeah,
Ryder, there was somebody that was really quick. Text a few times.
Ryder already knows to ignore the Vegas number.
Okay.
All right, time for narrative or reality.
I'm sorry, what?
Narrative or reality?
Sounds like true or poo, Anthony.
No,
Is it true or is it poo?
You want answers.
I
want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Fast Lane's true or poo?
Yeah. Marsh,
You were the opener?
Marsh, when you took over for meat, you were supposed to get rid of that one.
I think I was the one that facilitated the voice guy.
Yeah, he pushed it out.
Yeah.
You pushed out this true or poo.
Sure did.
Absolutely. Did you not hear it?
Yeah, you got it done.
All right, let's go.
Did you hear the end of that?
Yeah, I heard it.
All right, guys. Game 7 tonight between the Rangers and the Astros. True or poo? Max Scherzer just doesn't have it anymore in the postseason, and that is why the Rangers will lose.
It's poo. It's poo. If Max Scherzer struggles, to me, Anthony, it's not going to be because he doesn't have it anymore in the postseason. It's because he missed a bunch of time. He's had one start, and now he's like anybody else, even though he's like superhuman at times. It's not easy to just jump right back into the saddle in the biggest game. So I'm going to say it's not because he's lost it.
Yeah, I agree with the way you said that, Brad. With I don't think
if they lose, it's going to be because Scherzer got blown up.
I think so too, and I actually think it could happen. I mean, if you look at his numbers against the current Houston Astros roster, so just the guys that are on the roster, they're batting almost 300 off Scherzer. All the expected slug and batting average and all that stuff, all of it's high. All of it's rather low against Christian Javier, who is pitching for Houston. So based on the pitching matchup, despite that it's Max Scherzer, the current form of him, and again against the Astros, I think it's a bad matchup. I think the Astros win Game 7.
From the 618, Ohio State is the most overrated top 5 team in college football. True or poo?
That's poo. Which, you said top 10?
Top 5.
Top 5.
Oh, top 5.
I mean, what about Washington after that performance?
You watch it.
I'm sorry. I know you're a big Michael Penix fan.
I am.
I mean, what if?
I can't go with them. No, I don't think any of these teams are overrated right now in the top 5. I think Penn State was overrated in the top 10. But when it comes to these top 5 teams, I mean,
I've never liked Penn State for some reason.
Go ahead, Brad.
I don't know why.
I like the uniforms.
Good uniform, bad helmet.
Yep.
Yeah. Seen a few of them.
So anyways, no, I don't think Ohio State. You can't say that defense is overrated. When Michigan and Ohio State play, I expect a nice 6-3 ball game.
So what did you call that, Anthony?
The defensive ball?
Well, if you didn't believe in it, that statement to be true.
Poo.
That's poo. Yeah, that is poo. I'll go with poo also. I just want to make him play by the rules.
Make me say that.
Thank you, Brad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about time we have some accountability here.
Here we go.
True or poo, the Blues would be winless with last year's version of Jordan Bennington.
I think that's poo, too. Jordan Binnington was good last year. He's just been sensational this season to start this year. But I think last year was not Binnington. It was the players in front of him. Forwards weren't winning puck battles. The defense somehow lost, opponents. The scheme, the system wasn't great.
So we're just putting this solely just on Binnington, nothing else.
I mean, come on.
I mean, that's the question.
Yeah.
That's poo.
Well, I'm going through that. He stepped up. Next level. Next level.
He went upper decker.
Tank. Decker.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Regardless, he's been fantastic. He's been fantastic this year. Last one before we get to the gauntlet. True or poo, the Phillies have the best rotation left in the postseason.
Yeah, it's true.
True, no doubt.
I mean, historic. I don't know if you weren't listening earlier. The Phillies have the best starting rotation ERA in the history of baseball to this point. I think they've got a 1.48, I think it is, right now for their starters.
How ridiculous.
Wow. Wheeler, Nola, Suarez have been unhittable.
Holy mackerel.
Man, that guy's going to look real good in a Cardinal uniform next year.
Who's that?
Ranger Suarez.
Take him right now.
Oh, yeah.
Sold. Make a little deal. I'll be okay with that.
Yeah.
Aaron Nola would look good, too.
Certainly.
Take him, too.
Sure. If we just take the Phillies rotation, is that possible?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I tried, Cardinals fans. Gauntlet next on 101 ESPN.
Corey's one challenger. Can you master the gauntlet?
Brought to you by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit masstour.com.
Time for the Gauntlet in the fast lane where it's 4:02. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brad Thompson, Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter, and we welcome in Corey into the Gauntlet. What's up, Corey?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Just finishing up the workday.
All right. Good man.
For you.
Have you ever been in the Gauntlet before?
I have not, but I was a past Hall of Famer on the 4 o'clock fight against Carricker.
God, I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
So we got our challenge ahead of us here.
Yeah, but Randy was probably off his game that week. There's a good chance.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Everybody gets lucky 3 days in a row against Randy.
I don't think so. All right,
on the fourth day, and when I didn't take any other question or answers, I just answered. I think I lost 3-2.
Did he goat you into that, Corey?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because he'll do that.
He is a B word.
Yeah,
a bully. At times.
Sometimes.
Can be.
When it comes to 4 o'clock
Especially if he loses 3 in a row.
No doubt. He gets a little angry. Anyways, let's get to this gauntlet. Would you like to take on Andrew Marsh, BT, or me today, Corey?
I definitely want to take on BT.
All right, Corey.
All right, got your chance against BT.
All right.
BT won last Thursday.
Random
Crushed the
randomness is up my alley.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. All
Well,
right.
We'll spin that wheel. We'll see what you get.
All right, I'm out of here.
BT, by the way, one of the categories is the fast lane picks.
Oh.
So would you like to go baseball, or do I have that assumption wrong about you?
I mean, I kind of like random, to be honest.
You want to go random?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like my broad randomness will defeat Corey.
There you go. So
I feel like if he beat Randy, he beat him in like baseball and football, and like this is, you got to zig when he's expecting to zag.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
All right, Brad, we'll get into the cone of silence,
See ya.
kid. All
Actually
right.
have a real wheel.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, the Tyler O'Wheel's back.
The Tyler O'Wheel is back.
The Tyler O'Wheel.
Yeah, Tyler O'Wheel.
What do you mean it's back?
Well, we dedicated it to Tyler O'Neill.
You're saying it was broken.
Correct. And now it's back.
Not cool.
We don't know for how long.
It's not cool.
Brad's going into the cone of silence. Corey, go ahead. Tell Marsh to spin that wheel.
Sure. Spin that wheel, please.
Oh, I guess there we go. Wow, that was quick. But it did wind up with baseball, Corey. You wound up with baseball.
All that.
That was a little tighter. The wheel,
yeah.
The wheel was a little tighter this time around.
Well, last time it'd probably still be spinning.
It'd still be spinning, yeah.
And it would land on random.
That's right. But baseball is the category today against Brad Thompson. How you feel about baseball, Corey?
Good. I
Okay.
like baseball.
Corey, your unshakable confidence is making all of us worrisome.
Good.
Okay. I'm getting the launch codes here from Marsh. 4 questions, all baseball. If you need the options, Corey, those questions become worth 1 point instead of 2. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Okay, question 1. In 2004, the Red Sox broke the curse of the Bambino and won their first championship in 86 years. Boston, of course, defeated the Cardinals in that World Series with what player nabbing MVP honors? So who won the MVP in that World Series in 04?
Let's see. So obviously you got the usual suspects. I think I was more livid about the MVP than Renteria getting the last out and then going to the Red Sox. But I think that was Manny Ramirez.
Final answer, Corey?
Final answer.
Question number 2. Tonight, native St. Louisan Max Scherzer starts for the Rangers in Game 7 of the ALCS versus the Astros. Mad Max broke into the league as a member of the 2008 Diamondbacks. Name the former Cardinal who led that Arizona team in home runs.
What year again?
2008.
2008. I'll take the options.
Options are Mark Reynolds, J.D. Drew, or Russell Branyan.
Let's go with Branyan.
Final answer?
Final answer, yeah.
Corey, question 3. On Saturday, Bryce Harper became just the second player in postseason history to steal home and club a home run in the same game. Who was the other?
Ooh. Randy Arozarena? Final answer.
Question number 4. Since 1985, the Cardinals have had 3 Rookie of the Year award winners. Albert Pujols, Vince Coleman, and who else?
Since 85. Go ahead and give me the options.
Options are Colton Wong, Rick Ankiel, or Todd Worrell.
I'm going to go with Rick Ankiel. Final answer.
All right, we'll bring back BT from the Cone of Silence right now. Corey, how you feeling?
Not great.
All right. Not great. All right, Brad's making his way back from the Cone of Silence right now. Coffee in hand. He's ready to rock. By the way, the Eagles acquired safety Kevin Byard from the Titans and sent, I think, Terrell Edmonds and some draft picks to the Titans. I mentioned it before.
Terrell's very excited.
That's like, if you're Edmonds, you go from the Super Bowl contender, team that made the Super Bowl last year, to the Titans.
Yeah, but Nashville's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You have a good time in Nashville.
You're going to have to because you're probably not going to win much. Brad, are you ready?
I think so.
Your category is baseball today.
Oh, great.
Wheel spun baseball.
Okay.
Question number 1. In 2004, the Red Sox broke the curse of the Bambino and won their first championship in 86 years. Boston defeated, of course, the Cardinals in that World Series, with which player nabbing MVP honors?
Who was the MVP in 04 for Boston? Wow, that's a great question. This is easier if this is 2013. Why'd you pitch to him? Give me the options.
Curt Schilling, Manny Ramirez, the aforementioned Big Papi, David Ortiz.
Okay.
Schilling, Manny, David Ortiz.
Well, quick series. I don't think that Schilling would be the guy. Did Ortiz him again? Give me Manny being Manny.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Question number 2. Tonight, native St. Louisan Max Scherzer starts for the Rangers in Game 7 of the ALCS versus the Astros. Mad Max broke into the league as a member of the 2008 Diamondbacks. Name the former Cardinal who led that Arizona team in home runs.
Former Cardinal who led the 08 Diamondbacks in home runs. Whoa. I'm going to take a shot here. We were talking about Schwarber earlier, home runs and strikeouts. How about Mark Reynolds? I'm going to go Mark Reynolds as my guy.
Final answer?
Yes, final answer.
All right, Brad, on Saturday, Bryce Harper became just the second player in postseason history to steal home and club a home run in the same game. Who was the other?
Second player in postseason history to steal home and hit a homer. I feel like in the entire postseason, not just NLCS. I feel like this is like a Ricky Henderson type thing. Give me the options just in case.
Willie Mays, Randy Arozarena, Pete Rose.
I mean, Randy's the outlier, right? Did he do that? He did do that. Did he do that? Damn it. When in doubt, go with the outlier. I'm going to go Randy Arozarena. Yeah, yes, final answer. Yeah, Willie Mays and Pete Rose and Randy Arozarena. The old one of these things has not been on here.
All right, question number 4. Since 1985, the Cards have had 3 Rookie of the Year award winners. Albert Pujols, Vince Coleman, and who else?
I want to say 85. I want to say Todd Worrell won it in 85. I'm going to go Todd Worrell. Final answer.
All right, let's go over these today. Corey versus Brad in baseball. In 2004, The Red Sox broke the curse of the Bambino and won their first championship in 86 years. The great Bambino. Boston,
the Colossus of Cloud?
The Colossus of Cloud.
The King
Boston
of Crap.
defeated the Cardinals in that World Series, with which player nabbing MVP honors? Brad, you went with Manny being Manny. Corey, you also went with Manny Ramirez. Answer is?
It is Manny Ramirez.
But Corey did not need the option, so he's got a 2-1 lead over Brad because Brad did ask for said options. On Saturday, Bryce Harper became just the second player in postseason history to steal home and club a home run in the same game. Who's the other? Brad heard the options. He said, you got Willie Mays, you got Pete Rose, and then there's Randy Rosarina. Always go with the outlier, right?
Generally.
Brad went with Randy Rosarina. Corey went with Randy Rosarina. Answer is? Randy Rosarina. Oh. And Corey did not need the options for that one.
Corey?
So Corey's got a 4-2 lead. 4-2 lead over Brad. Tonight, native St. Louis and Max Scherzer starts for the Rangers in Game 7 of the ALCS versus the Astros. Mad Max broke into the big leagues as a member of the 2008 Diamondbacks. Name the former Cardinal who led that Arizona team in home runs. Corey, you went with Russell Branyan.
You son of a...
Brad went with Mark Reynolds. Correct answer is?
Well, it's funny that he went with Russell Branyan while facing Brad.
Yeah.
Except for it is Mark Reynolds.
It is Mark Reynolds, and Brad did not need the options for that one. So Brad and Corey are all tied at 4.
Oh, let's go.
Since 1985, the Cardinals have had 3 Rookie of the Year award winners: Albert Pujols, Vince Coleman, and who else? Brad, you went with Todd Worrell. Corey, you went with Rick Ankiel. If it's Hank, Corey wins. If it's Todd Worrell, Brad wins. If it's Colton Wong, who the other option was, because Hank and Worrell were both options. If it's Colton Wong, well, we've got a walk-off today. Corey.
You have chosen poorly.
You lose. It was Todd Worrell, 1986. Todd Worrell joins on this list. Albert Pujols and Vince Coleman. BT wins today 6-4. Sorry, Corey. Nice try.
It was a good game. Well done. Good job, bro.
Oh, man. Thank you, Corey. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good one, guys.
You too. Thanks, Corey. Good stuff.
Oh, Anthony, I didn't feel good about that after the first 2.
You nailed it, buddy.
I'll tell you that right now.
You got every question right. You didn't need the options for 2 of them. You thought well with the Randy A, being the outlier on that one. Nice
thank
job.
goodness. Yeah.
Way to go, Brad. So this is you've come back to doing the Gauntlet the last 2 weeks, and you're 2-0.
Yeah, look, it's not about the record, okay? It's about the team. We're all... Yeah, I'm killing it. Let's be honest.
And I think it's about the win percentage, too, not just the record.
It's kind of 1,000. I don't know if are we still keeping track?
Oh,
yes.
Marsh has the best counting stats in ever, Bob.
Does he?
Now, when you say the White Sox are going to the World Series before the season starts, that's when you want him to lose the damn.
Well, who said that?
It was either me or Jamie.
Well, since we've been finger pointing,
it was me, Brad.
The White Sox.
Yeah, I love the pitching.
Did you? Well, good. Dylan Cease. Take him.
Giolito.
Yeah, Dylan Cease.
Clevenger.
Yeah.
I liked him going into the season.
Of course. Underperformed, I'd say.
Badly.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. I didn't have the Cardinals. That was Jamie.
Well, he had the Cardinals going to the World Series?
That's correct.
What a homer.
Speaking of the Cardinals, could past mistakes hinder the Cardinals' future decisions? We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN.
Garcia makes his statement, and the Rangers have their sights set on Game 7.
So that was last night. Garcia hitting a grand slam off the guy that he was a little ticked off at beforehand. Started the scuffle. Or no, that wasn't against Abreu.
That was versus Stanek.
That's right. Did you guys think, by the way, going back to Friday, I did not think that they were hitting Garcia on purpose. There's no way in hell.
Got to be some
in
form
that
of
situation
to hit him on purpose. So that being said, and this is with all due respect, you got to be some form of stupid to kick a guy out for doing that.
Yeah.
Too, and suspend him as a league. All the umpires got together and said, "Yeah, it was on purpose."
Right. Why?
What?
Know the game.
We know baseball players are like elephants. Okay, Anthony?
They're smart.
Smart, that's right. Memories.
Big.
Okay? You play him 13 times next year.
Yeah.
You can get him
then.
at some point.
Right.
Not then.
No.
Not at that point.
No.
Can a fastball just get away? Did Adolis Garcia maybe overreact a tad? A little bit. I could see that. After getting hit with 98, you're a little upset, but come on.
Yeah.
Did he deserve it?
Stop it.
No, he didn't deserve it. Well, for what? Hitting a home run?
Next year he
come
deserved it.
I mean,
Next year or maybe deserved is the wrong word.
Yeah.
Next year he was going to wear it.
Next year he earned getting, maybe a fastball in the rib.
He watched it. And there's old school listening right now, and there's new school.
Mm-hmm.
Old school, put your head down and run. Scott Rowland. Love Scott Rowland.
Yeah.
He'd hit the home run. He'd get around the bases quickly, act like he did it before.
Yeah.
There are other guys that say pimping ain't easy. Don't throw it there if you don't like it. And that's kind of where Garcia was. Garcia has been so much fun to watch this postseason, really all season long. Dude hit 39 home runs this year for the Rangers. I mean, he has been a guy. It's tough to find guys like that.
It certainly is. When you do, though, you hold on to them dearly. Cold dead hands type stuff.
It'd be nice to have a guy like Adolis Garcia.
No doubt.
Right now.
Yeah.
Now.
So, Brad, the Cardinals at one point, they had him. Now, in fairness to the Cardinals, the Rangers also had him and dumped him. And then
it's very true.
Figured out how to bring him back. And, now he's a baseball god.
He's fine.
Could the past mistakes hinder the Cardinals' future decisions? So you watch, you trade a Rosarina, you trade. I'm not even going to count the Gallen and Alcantara.
Thank you.
That's the trade that hurt you, but
it was a need at the time.
You didn't.
Nobody was mad about that at the time when you brought in Marcell Ozuna after 37 home runs and like 130 ribbies.
Right. You parted with what you needed to get that guy to hit in the middle of your order. Garcia and Rosarina, I think those are the ones that you look at and you're like, hot damn, that hurts.
Yeah.
Do you think that hinders the Cardinals' future decisions?
So I think that the human element of it is, I think that you're once bitten, twice shy, right? So you have this happen to you. You have a Rosarina go out there and turn into a postseason god, and he's put up pretty decent numbers over the years. Garcia is putting up big-time power numbers, plays a good outfield, like he's doing all the things that you would like an outfielder to do that you don't have. All you have in the outfield really is kind of some question marks out there. But the thing is, and we've used different ways of saying it, but scared money doesn't make money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to be able to go out there and still make the best baseball moves that you can make. So the idea of it affecting next year or just the future for the Cardinals would mean if they were scared, they would just hang on to everything they have. Mm-hmm. I think it's the worst idea that you have is to hang on to all your outfielders. Like, what if Tyler O'Neill becomes Adolis Garcia? Well, you hung on to Tyler O'Neill because you thought he was going to be Adolis Garcia. You looked at the skills, the weapon. He was for a year, and then he's been hampered by injury. So I think that if this offseason, out of, there's a couple of players that are going to be cold, dead hands, okay? But outside of that, you have to be open for business because you need to be able to shake it up. You need to be able to bring in some impact. We all know you need to be able to bring in some arms, but you do wonder, like right before pulling the trigger on a deal and, whoever it is, maybe it's one of your glut of outfielders, could be a middle infielder that, you've got a lot of those as well. Wouldn't you think, Anthony, that human element comes into play? It's like, yeah, but remember those last two? Or do you think that we're so far down the road when it comes to the numbers that you can get the emotions out of it?
I want my front office to operate the way you just described. And I don't care if it's the Cardinals or any other front office. I want you to operate that you know what the hell you're doing And even though it might cost you a player that you really like. And I'll just throw out a couple players that the Cardinals like that you don't want to give up.
All right.
A Tommy Edman, a Brendan Donovan.
Not doing it.
I'm not doing Nolan Gorman when it comes to a trade.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that either. But when it comes to those players, you know, like those are the players that teams are going to be asking about.
Right.
But I still want my teams. I still want my front offices to operate on, like you can't be scared. You can't be the Browns screwing up quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. And
they got their guy now, guaranteed money.
They got their guy in P.J. Walker.
$30 million.
It's awful.
And then P.J. Walker's money.
Yeah. But you still you can't pass up on a good quarterback because you blanked it up in three previous drafts.
Right.
You got to find the mission still remains the same. You got to find pitching. You got to bring in better players. So just make the right call next time.
Do you think it would be a really and it's an impossible task, honestly, unless you're just trading bona fide big leaguers, because it's hard when you're looking at prospects and stuff.
Yeah.
I would be so interested if there were some way to make trades and just find out, like, maybe one team does it for an offseason or something, where you don't know the player's name. You know, like, you see them, like, would you take player A or player B?
Yeah.
Like, that's all you have is, like,
no.
You have all the numbers. Damn it, Heather, I told you, don't say no.
You're so sick that day.
The one time, we never set anything up. Like, hey, I'm just going to set you up for something.
Yeah.
Just whatever. Don't say
Nolan Arenado. For some reason, that name got lodged right in there.
He goes, what the fuck?
Are you serious? I knew as soon as I saw you go, oh, boy.
I said the wrong name.
That was the name I wasn't supposed to say, wasn't it?
It's on me.
Hot damn.
What do you think trades would look like if we just did that? If we just looked at, like, here it is. It's just all data and it's all numbers and it's expected stuff. Because, I mean, you're going to give away good players at times. You're probably also bringing in a different skill set. You trade away a bat to bring in an arm. So, like, I wonder what that idea would look like. Because then there's no emotional attachment.
I want a team to do that.
What about what he's meant to the organization? And, this guy, I really like him, you know. I feel like it would be a bad way to do business, because I think that now actually we're leaning more towards that direction than anything else. I feel like we have not done a very good job of caring what a guy is in the room as much, like what the fit looks like. But I'd be super interested to see how that plays out.
A team like the Rays or like a team like the A's, different spectrum, right? Like the A's, you got nothing going for you, so you might as well just try something.
I mean, they might just be game for it.
Right. Yeah. The Rays, I think, would be game for it, too, just because that's kind of how they think.
Well, they just churn guys in and out.
Yeah.
Like, there's not necessarily household names over there with the Rays.
You talk about, okay, so the segment is, could past mistakes hinder Cardinals' future decisions, right? Speaking of the Rays, Brad, do you hand out another big contract to a young player after you just did this with Wander Franco?
Yeah, I don't let that scare you away. Like, I would hope that that's an outlier.
You would hope.
When it comes to Wander Franco.
But they don't typically hand out those contracts like that early.
Yeah, well, they'll probably end up getting that money back, right? I mean, I would think that would
if he's not playing,
might be some sort of a breach of their contract. Yeah, I like something like that. Actually, I'd be more inclined to do that again when you have what you believe to be generational talent and like one-off awful. I don't like if everything is true. I don't believe he should never play baseball again.
Yeah,
but that wouldn't scare me away. I'd be more scared if I felt like I was making the wrong decision multiple times. Or
sure.
I don't know if I trust myself.
Right.
Like that one, even with the Rays, and the Rays, we realize that they're not one of the more higher income clubs. They can afford that. They can afford to do that. And really, that's the only way they're really going to afford it. Because once that guy hits free agency,
forget it.
He's doubling that contract.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Brewers.
Would you still do it? Or would you be scared away?
No, because I think it's good practice to do that. I mean, there's the list of players that have worked out in that manner. Madison Bumgarner, I think, is the poster child of that. The Giants paid him like $14 to pitch for them,
like that.
And then the Diamondbacks are the one to pay him.
Still,
Anthony Rizzo where the Padres gave him a very affordable contract. Cubs benefited from that. We've seen examples with the Cardinals. Even the players where you're like, oh, this is terrible. And actually, it wasn't that bad. Like Colton Wong, when he got his deal.
None of the Cardinals deals have been that bad.
DeYoung wasn't that
those guys,
bad.
The extension. His was $26 million
Right.
for, what was it, 5 or 6 years?
So I would still be doing that. Matt Carpenter worked out incredibly well.
Yeah,
we only remember the
extension
second
sucked.
contract. Right.
Yeah, the 2-year deal after that
The first one was a freaking steal.
Yes.
So, yes, I would still do that because I think it's good practice.
Yeah, you still come down to where is the comfortable number? Because if you're a young player and you are looking for free agent money when you have a year or two in the league, you're not going to get it. Then just play it out and we'll see what happens come free agency. But if you're looking for security, you look for a good deal. And you had mentioned a couple of days ago, Anthony, the way that the Braves have done it. Well, they locked up Albies, they locked up Acuna, and those are very good contracts. Albies is crazy low, but good enough for him, right? He said his family's taken care of forever. Those are good risks to take.
Yeah.
But
Harris.
I also think they're it's not something you have to do with every player.
Right.
I think it's something that you can wait a year or two also and figure out. Just because you have a guy, Jordan Walker, just because you have him right now, it doesn't mean you need to force into a long-term deal. If you found a deal, if he would take like a buyout, a couple of years of free agency for $75 million, call it, maybe you think about that. But you don't have to do it. I think that patience and timing is a little bit of everything because you want both sides to feel comfortable about a deal like that.
Definitely. That's Brad Thompson. I'm Anthony Stalter. Jamie's on the road. BT filling in for the full show. We got Smoke and Mirrors next here on 101 ESPN.
Sure, poo?
No. I always love talking to our guy, Stewie, because there are different scenarios that he can present that can save, his clients a lot of money, or different scenarios he lays out that you may not have thought of before. So, Stewie, when it comes to dealing with builders, what advice do you have right now for everybody?
Anthony, when people go and meet with builders, the builders will tell them, hey, use my lender. And even in the fine print of the contract, it'll say the title company that they got to use too. They say, hey, if you use the builder that I'm pushing you through or I'm pointing you to, we'll give you a $5,000 credit at closing. So people say that sounds like a great deal. Challenge is they're charging you more than $5,000. The rate is astronomically high. And the title company they want you to go to, that title company, the builder has ownership interest in. These are all ways to get more money from you. Be smart, be independent, compare. If you're working with a builder, call us, see what the rate is, get the bagel loan with no closing costs. We'll even help you with the title company choices.
There you go. And all you have to do is call or text Stewie at 314-324-4440. Again, 314-324-4440. If this scenario doesn't apply to you, but something else does, purchasing a home, debt consolidation, just the advice about, what the Federal Reserve is going to do when they start to meet up again. Call or text Stewie. He's there to help. He's there for a reason. Again, if you miss that number, you can always Google the bagel loan. Stewie, thank you.
Have a good night.
NMLS number 226715.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues bounce back this past Saturday, as they defeated the Pittsburgh Penguins by a final score of 4-2. They'll be back in action tomorrow, taking on the Winnipeg Jets. 6:45 pregame show, 7:45 puck drop. You can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. City SC lost to the Seattle Sounders over the weekend by a final of 2-0. They'll take on either Sporting KC or San Jose on Sunday. That start time is at 9 p.m. Right now, the Phillies are trailing the Diamondbacks in Game 6 of the NLCS. 3-0, top of the second inning. The Diamondbacks still up to bat with a runner on second. We'll keep you updated on that one. The Rangers and Astros, Game 7 tonight. The winner heading to the World Series. Also tonight, Monday Night Football, 49ers and Vikings. Pregame starts at 6:30. Once again, you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. We have Smoke and Mirrors Week 7 coming up next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Smoke and mirrors.
Those pesky Diamondbacks won't go away. Everybody thinks, okay, you're on the road, you're down. World Series on the line for the Phillies. Aaron Nola's on the bump. Might as well just quit. Might as well quit. Don't even play the game. Nola cruised to the first inning, and the Diamondbacks have jumped his ass in the second. Back-to-back home runs. You had Tommy Pham going deep, and then who was it, Gurriel, who hit the other one. You had a double by Evan Longoria that plated Corbin Carroll, and now the Diamondbacks are up 3-0, still batting, no outs in the top of the second. So, not great.
That's what you had to do, obviously, but you got to quiet that crowd early. You know how loud that place has been all postseason. It's an intimidating place. An inning like that quiets it down a little bit. Now, it's still going to be a very tough task to keep that offense down for the Phillies, but impressive start here by the D-backs.
No doubt. So we'll keep you updated on that one. Let's play Smoke and Mirrors Week 7. I think this is going to be a fascinating look at some of these teams based on what we saw yesterday. So it's basically Smoke and Mirrors, or, are they the real deal still? Let's start with the Lions. It's like Drew or Pooh, Brad.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. That I understand.
Oh, boy. The Detroit Lions, smoke and mirrors, or do you guys still think they're the real deal?
I still think they're the real deal. Look, they got their tails whipped. Baltimore looked unbeatable in that game. Lamar Jackson did everything that he wanted to. The offensive line gave him all the time in the world. They had a breakdown on one of his plays this morning on ESPN. I think he had 9.4 seconds, and he was evading some tackles, too. But he has all the time in the world. Things looked really bad for Dan Campbell's Lions. You even had Lions fans putting their beanies over their face like they were just embarrassed just because they're used to that, and they bring their paper bags with them too. But
even in good seasons,
I still think that this team, it's a very complete team overall. I still believe in the Lions.
I do too. I still think they're the real deal, Marsh. When you look at that defensive front, I'm not going to overlook the fact that that defensive unit has been very, very good, and we know what they are offensively. I think they ran into a Ravens team that had a point to prove yesterday, and it wound up being a horrible matchup for them. But I still think they're the real deal.
Man, I think they'll be fine because they literally don't play anybody good the rest of the way, except for Dallas on December 30th. But I think they're smoke and mirrors.
Really?
I do. I think they beat a banged-up Chiefs team week 1. We've already established that earlier today. Other than that, let's go through their schedule here. We have the Seahawks. They lost that game. You're not a huge fan of the Seahawks, Anthony. They beat your Falcons team, who I don't think are really that great.
Well, they're getting better.
They're getting better. They're in a terrible division. They beat the Packers, who stink, who couldn't even beat Russell Wilson. They lost to they beat the Panthers, who are the worst team in the NFL. Mm-hmm. They beat the Buccaneers, who I think are also smoke and mirrors. And then they lost to the Ravens. And not only did they lose to them, they got smoked. They got smoked by the Ravens.
A real test comes this next week.
You got the Vikings?
I do the Raiders. Real test. That's what we're going to find out. That's where the rubber meets the road, if you will.
Well, the Raiders
they understand that in Detroit.
The Raiders had yesterday off, so they've now 2 weeks.
It was a look forward
to
game.
prepare. Yeah,
It really
absolutely.
No, they
Hoyer.
lost. They lost to a quarterback who played Division II football.
No, they didn't play us. The Raiders didn't play yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I must have been mistaken.
Yeah. I didn't think they played yesterday.
Look,
It was not
if
well.
you didn't have Tyson Bagent as the player that was going to step up this year, you don't watch football.
Missed opportunity.
Like, if he wasn't on your fantasy team as a backup,
right,
you don't know how to play.
Good point.
Maybe we'll get into this during the Sports Six Pack. I'll bring it back up. But what does that say about Justin Fields? That Tyson Bagent could go out there and get it done.
Says Justin Fields is a long way to go.
Yeah,
if he wants to be a quarterback.
I think it says more about the Raiders, personally.
That's true, too.
Just had to
That is
throw
fair.
it out there.
Dolphins, after last night, smoke and mirrors are the real deal.
I am not willing to go smoke and mirrors yet. We do this too often. And Anthony, you laid out the case earlier, and I expect you to do it again. I want you to do it again of what went wrong there for Miami.
Mm-hmm.
But we do this all the time. We react to one game. I understand who they played this year has not been the best. And then they face a very good team, a team that could easily win the Super Bowl in the Eagles. And they get beat up. I think the offense is too good. I think they're very creative, and they've got so many weapons. I can't call them smoke and mirrors at this point.
I don't think they're smoke and mirrors either. Thus far, the Dolphins are exactly who I thought they were going to be. I thought they were going to be a team that was a lot of fun early on, and they're going to win enough games in an AFC East that's challenging, but they've got the best offense and the best skill position players and really good coaching and all that. I think that the Dolphins are going to be good in the regular season. I think they're going to face a team, whether it's in the AFC title game or in the AFC divisional round, that they don't match up with, and it's a team with a good defensive line that overcomes Miami's biggest weakness, which is their offensive line, and they're going to lose. I think that is kind of the recipe for Miami, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly how things play out. Doesn't mean that they're not the real deal, though. That offense is too good to call them smoke and mirrors.
So if I'm saying the Lions are smoke and mirrors, I have to say that the Dolphins are smoke and mirrors too.
Yeah.
I'm looking at their schedule again. They have not played anybody good and won. So you look at the Chargers. Do we think the Chargers are good? Me personally, I don't.
No,
I don't think they're a good team.
I think they're well coached. I just don't think that
They're talented enough. Yeah, I think Brad. No, Brad, let him finish. I think he brings up a good point.
Staley has pushed all the right buttons. Unfortunately,
what are you going to do?
He doesn't have
doesn't have the team. Doesn't have the quarterback. Doesn't have any good wide receivers. Doesn't have good defensive players. Yeah.
I think someone might have changed the buttons in the loading screen, Brad. You look at the Patriots, not a good team. The Broncos, obviously they beat them by 50, not a good team. They lost to the Bills, who we'll bring up here in a second. I don't think the Bills are all that great either. Then you have the Giants, who stink. The Panthers, again, stink. And then they played the Eagles, who are a good team, and they lost. When you look at the rest of their schedule, the only two teams that really should give them fits are the Chiefs, maybe the Cowboys, and then the Ravens. And then you have the Bills late in the season. Who knows where that goes, but I think they'll be fine, like you said. They'll be fine. They'll make the playoffs. But if we're talking about Super Bowl contender, smoke and mirrors, I think the Dolphins are smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, I don't think they win a Super Bowl. Bills, I got them in the smoke and mirrors category. Without Matt Milano, without Tre'Davious White, I think they got big time issues here, and we've seen this now. We've seen this movie play out. They're good, but Josh Allen is trying to score a touchdown on every damn play, and it's going to fall apart on Buffalo.
How do they take that pressure off of him, right? If you are the OC, or maybe even if you're the head coach, Anthony, and you see this, you see your quarterback who's, he's got the big money, he's got the big expectations, and you see him continually trying to take over football games because he's making up for the other side of the ball.
Yeah.
How do you stop that? Like, how do you take that pressure
That's a good
off
question.
of him?
Scale it back, run the ball, and give him, figure out what his favorite 10 plays are and say, hey, we're going to run these 10 plays to perfection. Scale it way back. And then slowly, once he stops playing out of the system and back in the system, then start adding those plays back in.
Is that is that disrespectful to do to a guy like him, or is it helpful?
I don't think you word it the way I did.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to scale it back on you.
Yeah.
I take it, pull them into the office. Hey, these numbnuts have no idea what's going on around you. You are solid.
Everybody
you have got this.
Yeah.
Here's what we're gonna do.
Right.
Like, let's dumb it down for these simpletons.
Yeah.
And
what do you think? What the 10 plays that you think they can handle?
Yeah. No, good call on that.
Good call. But yeah, and then you really structure. You really structure your game plans around that. Just for the early going until he starts. Because once he starts turning the ball over, he's running around, he's missing wide open receivers. Then I think you got to scale it back. What about you, Marsh?
Yeah, Bills smoke and mirrors for sure. I wouldn't even consider them good to even be in this category.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, they shoot themselves in the foot almost every week.
Constantly.
And like you mentioned earlier in the show, their defense is highly suspect.
Mm-hmm. Sus.
Very sus, very sus. And if you couple that with a few turnovers from Josh Allen, that's a recipe for disaster.
Sprinkle in the TOs with Allen. And
I want to know, at what point does Stephon Diggs start to get a little upset? We've seen it before.
You lose 3 in a row, I bet you we get some fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that.
And they should have lost to the Giants last week. Yeah, you were for the drama.
Fireworks.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We've got a Sports Six Pack next. We got a question, 314-399-9646 at the Air Comfort Service text line. Again, Sports Six Pack next in the Fastlane.
Fellas, it's never too early to be thinking about the holidays, and my friends over at Diamonds Direct have got you covered. Now, I know this, around the holidays, money can get tight. Well, know this, Diamonds Direct is the absolute value leader. They have direct importer pricing. That's what they're famous for. They have relationships with all the diamond cutters overseas. They go back for decades, and they pass that value right on to you. None of the middleman markup stuff, no broker fees. You get a great deal over at Diamonds Direct, and trust me, you shop around, you will not find a better deal. Second, Diamonds Direct is much more than just a diamond store. They have a multi-million-dollar selection. They have earrings, bracelets, bands, pendants, necklace, colored gemstone jewelry, from basic studs to the newest, hottest designer pieces from all across the globe. All the things she's been dropping hints on, all of the ideas that you've had throughout the year that maybe you've forgotten, well, chances are they've got you over at Diamonds Direct, and they have the strongest warranties and guarantees in the industry. You need to go check them out. Whether it's holiday shopping early, which, guys, is not a bad idea. Don't just wait till the day before Christmas to go out there. It's an engagement, an anniversary, whatever you want. Diamonds Direct has got you covered. Go check them out online. Go to diamondsdirect.com. You can get showroom hours, directions, check out the inventory there. But get into the showroom. The people are fantastic. You're going to love working with them. At Olive and 270 at City Place is Diamonds Direct.
Your small business is always top of mind. Well, top of your mind. To get it to the top of other people's minds, you need to get your name out front, which is where Staples Print and Marketing Services can put it. A yard sign over there, brochures right here, a banner up there. In fact, your business's message could appear anywhere. And right now at Staples, get $100 off your print purchase of $250 or more. Make a splash with your small business print and marketing materials at Staples. Ends 11/4. Visit staples.com/print for details.
It's Macy's Friends and Family, with early deals on everything you need to get ready for the holidays, like an extra 30% off brands that rarely go on sale with your coupon or Macy's card. And take 15% off fragrance, skincare, makeup, and more great beauty gift ideas now at Macy's. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase except gift cards, services, and fees. Savings off regular sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply. Find something so you at Macy's Friends and Family.
This is Jay Delsing coming to you from the Car Shields Golf Studios. I hope you'll join me Sunday mornings from 8 to 10 for Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Doherty Business Solutions. That's Golf with Jay Delsing every Sunday morning on 101 ESPN.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is refreshed by Maggie O'Brien's, your go-to Irish pub in St. Louis for over 42 years.
All right, let's jump right into it. Sports Six-Pack now.
Question number 1.
Question 1, please.
All right, from the 314, are the Ravens the biggest threat to knock off the Chiefs, especially with the best defense in football?
I have the Ravens going to the Super Bowl, so I would answer that question to be yes.
It's hard to debate after what you saw from them yesterday and then what you have seen from the Bills, obviously, who we thought were going to be there, and the question marks that still surround the Dolphins. Yeah, I would say yes, absolutely.
And Baltimore is a team that can play on the road because of the defense, and they don't really run the ball that great, but their offense, I think, would hold up. So I think about teams that can go into Kansas City and fare well. You know, Jacksonville gave Kansas City a game last year in the championship game, or in the divisional round. I could see Jacksonville playing well, but I still think if you're just saying, hey, who's the biggest threat? I got to go with Baltimore, with Buffalo being the current, with Buffalo and Cincinnati being the current, in their current forms. Because Cincinnati's given them all kinds of trouble in the playoffs. But I don't believe in that.
Yeah, they make no sense right now either.
No.
Question number 2.
Anthony, you had an interesting question that you wanted to pose.
Yeah, so I guess it's more of a statement. But so Adam Schefter of ESPN is reporting that the NFL is now asking injury report compliance questions to the Falcons about when they knew rookie running back Bijan Robinson wasn't physically well and why it wasn't reported. If you have Bijan Robinson on your fantasy team, you're probably ticked because he played about 7 snaps yesterday.
Unhappy, Anthony?
Yeah.
Unhappy.
Okay, so you got him on your fantasy team, Brad?
Yeah, I do too. 0.03 points.
And I think you got that 0.03 at the in the fourth quarter because I think he had one handoff in the fourth. I was getting buddies texting me, yo, what's going on with Bijan? Did he get hurt? So apparently Bijan Robinson was dealing with headaches yesterday. And when it comes back to like the NFL investigating this,
they take this stuff seriously.
They do, certainly, and it's mostly because of gambling, really. I mean, you know, the injury reports and things like that need to come out. Yeah, and fantasy, I guess, which falls in that category. Is somebody that I get migraines. I don't know if Bijan Robinson also gets migraines. They could
How quickly do they come on?
Instantly.
Really?
Yeah.
You just be sitting here, boom, migraine.
I get an aura. I can't see. And
you got a great aura.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What does an aura mean?
Different.
What does that mean?
You know, you ever see like in a movie when the sun is either setting or coming up and it's got the lines?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
lucky dog. You see that?
I just get the lines.
Oh.
And then I get nauseous.
Well,
and
that
then
doesn't seem like as much fun.
About 10 minutes to 20 minutes later, the migraine sets in. And it feels like, I've never had this happen, but it feels like a drill is going into your head above one eye and one eye only. This can be very unpredictable. So you could be fine one moment and not so fine the next. So if Bijan Robinson's dealing with migraines, he may have been fine by at kickoff, and then all of a sudden it came back on again. You know, you're playing in the heat in Tampa and all that, or maybe he took one hit and it aggravated or whatever. So I don't think the NFL's got much of a case here.
Yeah, I mean that'll happen when Desmond Ritter's your quarterback.
Yeah, you get headaches watching him play.
Yeah.
Although he makes like one frozen rope throw a game. In every win, he's been terrible, but he's made the one frozen rope to win the game.
He's like
Pitts.
He's like my golf game. There's that one shot. I'm like, hot damn, I'm coming back.
I'm good, huh?
I'm coming back.
Never mind the 12 you shanked.
I lost 20 balls. Doesn't matter.
No, the one.
Pipe that one.
Right down the middle, right down the fair lane.
He's been pretty consistent, too.
Fairway.
Obviously, you're not a golfer.
I haven't been.
He's been pretty consistent throwing passes behind his receivers.
He's been excellent. Yeah.
And they're 2 for 2 with catching them.
Yeah, Bijan had the one behind the back, and so did Kyle yesterday.
That was crazy.
Man, did you see the one at Pitts yesterday?
Yes.
Same deal.
Yes, reach back and get it.
Anyways.
Fair lane.
Fair lane.
Hit it right in the thunder.
Question number 3.
We have to go golfing.
How did you hit the ball into the stuff?
Oh my god.
It's the rough, Anthony. Oh yeah. I know.
We'll start you out on a mini golf.
Yeah, please.
From the 618, Brad, did you decide to not play in the new Dubai Baseball League due to sunburn worries?
Boy, is it hot in Dubai?
I would think so.
I would totally play in Dubai if they let me. I don't know anything about Dubai. Apparently, there's a lot of money there.
They got tall buildings.
Got lots of tall buildings. Actually, you told me about this during the break, and I was looking up some of the guys that got drafted in this league. First round, you had Didi Gregorius. He went 3rd overall. Pablo Sandoval, 4th overall. Robinson Cano, Andrelton Simmons, Bartolo Colon. Carlos Martinez is playing for the Monarchs in this. I think he went in the 9th round. I mean, they got some names over there.
If this was 2014, this would be incredible.
For sure. I'd watch this, though. Yep. Chances are, 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever the time change is, you throw this on, you see Carlos Martinez out there doing his thing. Be fun.
Yeah.
But probably the sun.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with the fact that they wouldn't want me.
No, you got drafted there. You just got to scroll down.
Sounds like a glorified beer league.
With major league players.
Well, yeah.
That's fine. All right, let's carry this over. All right, we can't shortchange the people.
What do you mean?
We're going to carry over the sports six-pack.
Oh, did you mismanage the clock?
Yeah, I did, Brad. Thanks for pointing that out.
Good job, Brandon Staley.
My bad.
Timeout.
Just call me Shane Steichen right before the half. More sports six-pack next. I want to win.
Didn't know how many downs there were.
You got to check out AutoCentersNissan.com because they've got great deals going on for new Nissans. Or better yet, head down to Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. Talk to my friends down there because they've got pricing on their over 750 makes and models. Great pricing, great deals, great customer service. They give you the 30-day return promise, which is within 30 days. If you need to bring the vehicle back for any reason, they'll refund the price for you. But they're so confident that you're going to drive off the lot and you're going to love it that they give you the 30 days. The complimentary lifetime warranty on new Nissans, also a great feature. But again, if you're looking for a vehicle and you've been frustrated by the selection at certain dealerships, or you bounce around dealerships because it's like, oh yeah, we got this location, that location, this location. One location, Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. They have over 750 new and used vehicles there. All makes, all models, cars, SUVs, trucks, vans, it doesn't matter. They've got it. So head out there or go to AutoCentersNissan.com, pick out your vehicle, and then go down and see my friends at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. Tell them Stalter sent you.
the question.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is refreshed by Maggie O'Brien's, your go-to Irish pub in St. Louis for over 42 years.
5:04, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. We ran out of time in the previous segment because I mismanaged the clock, Brad. Yes.
Did fine, buddy. You are coaching football right now, so you might want to start working on that.
Sharpen it up a little bit. Yeah, that's a good call on that. But if you
Do you guys
have a question,
clock, by the way?
It's running. It's a running clock, so it goes pretty quickly.
All right, good.
So I don't have to worry about mismanaging it. A lot of times they say, hey, you got 20 seconds, and then I call the timeout.
Do the kids hold you accountable?
No, not one
What's
bit.
the age group?
They're too young to hold me accountable. At some point, though, I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
Anyways, Air Comfort Service text line is 314-399-9646 if you have a question for us. I believe we're on question 4, please.
Question number 4.
From the 314, are the Tigers going to beat the Bulldogs next week? You better say yes, Anthony.
Yes, of course they are. Absolutely. I absolutely think they're going to give Georgia a game. They gave them a game a year ago, and granted that was in Columbia, but this version of Mizzou is better. They're better coached right now. Their offense, the passing game, is significantly better. They can run the ball without that outside zone scheme that they run. Their defense, I thought they were fast and aggressive, and then I saw them against LSU. I'm like, oh, there's a little bit of a gap there. But I don't think Georgia has LSU speed, like overall speed. So, yeah, I think they're going to go into Athens and give them a game.
What do you think, Anthony, and I don't even know if there's a future line on this. What do you think this line looks like?
That's a great question.
On the road against the number 1 team.
Georgia minus 11.5.
It's big.
Because Georgia was minus 14 or 14.5 against Kentucky.
Okay.
And that was at home, and they blitzed Kentucky, and Mizzou handled Kentucky in Lexington. So I think odds makers got to pay a little bit more respect to Mizzou than they did Kentucky. So I would say double digits, maybe like a 10.5.
Okay.
But they're gonna throw a hook in there and entice you to take Mizzou.
Oh, man, I just want it to be a competitive game. Because we had this conversation earlier in regards to Mizzou and how they handled their business this past weekend. And that, as you used it as a verb, they didn't Mizzou themselves. They're not at the point where you're just expecting them to screw something up. Like, this is a solid team, great quarterback play, good offensive weapons. Defense has been good enough. They have the recipe to keep it tight, but we also know that Georgia has the athletes to spread you out pretty quickly. So, man, it's as tough of a test as you're going to get, but, how exciting is it if you're a Mizzou Tiger fan that you have this opportunity going in against the number 1 team in the country with a chance to knock them off and a belief that you probably have the guys to do it.
Sure.
We were talking about Brady Cook earlier, believe him to be 6th in the nation in yards, and it's not like he slings it all over the yard. Like, you have some guys, you have some weapons, because against a team like Georgia, Anthony, don't you need a couple of huge plays to go your way, and you have the weapons to get those.
Look at so the last team to beat Georgia was Alabama in the SEC title game last year, or is that 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago that they lost. Okay, so not a lot of examples of Georgia losing in the last 2 years. One, they don't have Brock Bowers, which is good, and they had more turnover this year than they did a year ago when they won. But when they lost to Bama 2 years ago, it was all big plays. Bryce Young just kept hitting a couple of big plays in the SEC title game. Now, it didn't work in the title game, the NCAA title game. But you're right, Brad. You're gonna have to hit for some big plays. You're gonna have to kind of win in a shootout and make sure that Georgia is chasing a little bit, because you don't want them to start leaning on you, because that's when I think it's going to be a problem. That run game versus your front seven. I'll be interested to see what the line is now.
I will say,
probably way off.
If they get me and Jackson to Athens, Georgia, I think they got a shot.
You guys together are what, 1-0?
2-0.
2-0 now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He was also at the Middle Tennessee game.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So either of these games, did you know that one another were going to it, or did you just find each other there?
First game, did not know he was there. Second game, we met up at halftime. Knew he was going to be there. You know, just get a nice little recap of the first half, of course.
Sure. You guys were solving all the world's problems.
Well, putting together some shows.
Yeah, we were comparing notes and,
Good.
you know, of course, on the game. And
of course.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just saying, you know, if we go to, we're undefeated right now.
So who had the best tailgate?
The one that I was at.
Wow, good call.
So.
Must have been that missed call we had, Anthony.
Yeah, what the
Love
hell?
to go to a tailgate.
Yeah, no kidding.
The service was bad there.
I'm going to tell you a little secret, Anthony.
Yeah.
Just a little one, me and you. I've never been to a Mizzou game.
No?
Not one time.
I've been once, and it was Drew Lock's first home game against South Carolina, in fact.
You never liked him either.
I
You
thought
were anti-Drew Lock from the jump.
I think Drew Lock would just fine.
You said he'll never play on Sundays.
Oh, come on.
Well, he's not right
Never
now.
said that.
Well,
He's at least standing on the sidelines on Sundays.
that's good, too.
Man, Mizzou quarterbacks really have a great job. The backup quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, isn't Blaine Gabbert still playing with somebody?
He's with the
Arizona.
Chiefs.
Oh, that's right. He's with the Kansas
He's
City
backing
Chiefs.
up Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
I mean, Chase Daniel made so much money.
He made a lot of money. Got a Super Bowl ring.
Sweet gig.
Definitely.
Question number 5.
All right, from the 314, would you rather play a rival in the playoffs and risk losing / could claim ultimate bragging rights, or would you rather play somebody else?
You risk losing whoever you play, so it doesn't matter. But to me, in the postseason, it doesn't matter who you play. I don't care if it's like the fans. We would love Cubs Cardinals or whoever you deem the biggest rival to be. As a player, you don't give a damn who it is. Like, you're just checking people off the list, and there is no supreme bragging rights because every year has a heartbeat of its own.
Yeah, cool.
So it doesn't matter to me.
I think the only difference is if when the Blues finally got over like that hump with the Blackhawks in the postseason, that seemed to carry a little extra weight. But otherwise, I'm with you, Brad. If you're a player, too, you don't care.
Yeah, so maybe so I think that your example is actually a really good one. When you're the team that has been the hunter for a long time instead of the hunted, it makes a difference.
Definitely.
Like if you're just like, these guys always beat us, and then you beat them, maybe that changes things. But if you have been in front for a long time, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think the air is crisper.
Yeah.
The drinks are tastier.
Colder.
Depending on what you're drinking.
Could be
the food
warmer.
tastes better.
Food is way. A victory beer tastes so much better than a beer after a loss.
Why do beers taste better after you mow the lawn? It's just science.
Some people say that
something to that.
beers taste better while you're mowing the lawn.
You could
Also
do that too.
true.
Yeah. If you got a rider.
Yeah, it helps.
Sure.
You think they put that cup holder there for water?
No.
You think Mr. John Deere himself was out there drinking H2O as he's plowing the fields?
No.
Doubtful.
I don't care what he's plowing. He's
Dude.
drinking a beer.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Probably hit a little moonshine first.
Maybe.
Ooh, a little hooch in your system.
Yeah.
Go.
A little
Go do your
cinnamon
thing.
stick in
Get a
there.
little gasoline going.
Plowing everything.
No doubt.
Wow.
Question number 6.
All right, guys, what does it say about Colton Parayko that he is backing up what he said to JR before the season started?
I think he's off to a great start. I think that Colton Parayko is one of those players that is always going to be polarizing. You know, he's going to be the guy that fans
Because
look
we always
at.
want him to be something else.
Be it.
Shoot!
Be tougher.
Shoot the puck! Be like Pronger!
So he's being himself now, and he's playing well. Be nice if we just accept the guy for what he is. He's a really good player who's not Chris Pronger.
I just want him to be Pronger. Is that too much
It's
to
only
ask?
one Chris Pronger, you know?
Oh, you know what? I appreciate anybody that doesn't have a season that they want and they take it personal.
Yeah,
and
that's a good
they
call.
say, you know what? Screw that. I'm going to change the narrative, and I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do everything that I can in the offseason and then make it carry over into the next one. And to this point, that's what he's done.
All right, there you go. That's our Sports Six Pack here in the Fast Line on 101 ESPN. We got What's Trending next.
on in the world of sports? The Fast Lane has you covered with what's trending now.
Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate to Goodwill and get a Lion's Choice sandwich coupon.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Anthony Stalter, Brad Thompson. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. Guys, we talked about it earlier in the show with the whole Adolis Garcia, Brian Abreu situation, whether or not he threw at him on purpose. Either way, he was suspended for 2 games. That was upheld by an independent arbitrator. However, it will be delayed until the start of the 2024 season, making Abreu available for tonight's game.
Are you surprised by the World Series potentially?
Yes.
No, that's how it should be done. Like if you're stupid enough to believe that he hit him on purpose in that situation, first of all, if he is stupid enough to hit him on purpose in that situation,
Just cut him.
Boy, gotta have to reevaluate some things with him. But super talented guy, and they obviously need Brian Abreu. I think that the league is being intelligent enough, though, to not let something like this affect a postseason.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have one of your highest leverage relievers in the biggest game of the year, I mean, that's putting a real wrinkle in things. So if you want him, if you want your pound of flesh, go ahead and get it. Beginning of the season next year, if the Astros are World Series champs, they don't give a damn if he is missing a couple of games. So I think that's the right way to do it.
I do too.
You know, whatever. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Tonight, the 49ers take on my Minnesota Vikings. I'm sure the Vikings will have a great game plan tonight. They'll be facing Brock Purdy, who lost his first regular season game last week.
Vulnerable.
He's very vulnerable. Is Brock Purdy on the best deal right now for an NFL team? Is he the best bargain?
Him and Tua probably. More so Brock because he was a 7th-round pick and Tua was in the top 5. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's a quarterback deal that is better right now than Brock Purdy. I mean, he was Mr. Irrelevant. You don't have an undrafted quarterback, do you, in the league right now?
I mean, you have
Tyson Badgett. Yeah, when it comes to the Bears, because Justin Fields obviously is the starter when he's healthy. So yes, I would say so.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, you win a couple more games, though. We'll see. We'll start talking.
I mean, your boy Desmond Ridder, he's not making any money yet.
No.
So there's that.
Shouldn't.
That's your guy.
How do you fumble at the goal line because you can't get the snap?
I mean, I've seen it happen.
Going recently. Youngwick, who should not have needed a 51-yard field goal as time expires to win that game.
Yeah, they should.
Ridder was going into the end zone and slowed up and had the ball pop out, and there's a touchback.
Dude, it happens to everybody. Watching youth football this weekend. You know, it happens. All these kids.
Youth football.
Small hands. Ball just
pops out. Anyways, yeah, Brock Purdy's on the best deal, yes. He'll get paid at some point, though.
Speaking of not being able to control the football, Geno Smith, what is going on with him?
Every time that team gets into opponent territory, you wonder why, I was looking at this, Brad, you'll appreciate this trend. I was looking through some of the numbers.
Yeah.
60% of the unders are cashing thus far in the NFL.
That's 60%.
Normally it's, for reference, normally it's like 51-49, one way or the other. I mean,
you're a gambler and you're hitting at 60%, you're pretty happy.
60% unders in the NFL this season. And you say, okay, why is offense down this year? Look at the quarterback play. More in the red zone, but even when you get past the 50. Good quarterbacks, bad quarterbacks, it doesn't matter. It is a turnover haven right now. I mean, you're seeing this consistently in games.
Why?
I don't know.
Is this the equivalent of is airing it out in football? And a lot of these are interceptions, right? Throwing the football. It's a pass
getting some fun. Depends if you're Ridder, you're fumbling it.
Oh yeah, no, good call with that. But is that the equivalent of in baseball? Like nobody cares if they strike out anymore. I was like, whatever. Like let's go big or go home.
I don't know.
Everybody's just trying to put up numbers.
It's a good question.
Maybe part of that is right. Maybe it's just you're putting the ball in the air.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily throwing it deep or taking the 50-50 shots. It's just you're putting the ball in the air more. You're not leaning on the running game. I feel like defenses now are pretty stout against the run. And I think teams are so desperate to stay out of, because a lot of teams have young quarterbacks.
Yeah.
They're so desperate to stay out of 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7 that they're willing to throw. And they're making the passing game an extension of the run. So you're throwing sideways, you're throwing short, and it's an extension of your running game.
Okay.
But you got these mammoth defensive ends and these athletic linebackers that are getting in position. They're getting in passing lanes. You got a lot of tip balls, or they're just flat out athletic and they're intercepting them. So I think it's a combination of things. But it's definitely like inexperience at the quarterback position.
I know how
it's rampant.
You always say that you hate the fade.
It's the worst play in all of sports.
Hate the fade. I hate passes that go laterally.
Do you?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'd rather see a team, you said it's an extension of the run. I'd rather see the team just run the ball, even if you're getting like 3 yards at a time, because I feel like it opens up the passing game.
Yeah.
And a lot of teams, I feel like, don't do that anymore. And that's why coverages are that much tighter.
It's also tougher to wear down a defensive front that way too if you're not running the ball. I mean, you think about these defenses. Like, look at Philly last night. So Philly put together a 6 or 7 minute drive at the end. Right when they needed it, they went 6 or 7 minutes, and it was that they'd get 3rd and 1, do the Philly brotherly shove
or
there,
the tush push, as
the
you
tush
call it.
push, the Philly special.
That's not
that's a different one. It's a
different one.
Yeah, you need Nick Foles for that one.
That's right. They're picking up a first down, so reset, run the ball, reset, run the ball, and you're just getting gassed as a defense. But if you're not having to play the run, they've got guys that can just constantly circle in and out for rotational pass rushers. So I wonder, Brad, to your question, they're putting the ball in the air more, they're not running the ball, and it's causing more turnovers.
Yeah, the old school approach, right, is often test the line. Test them early and often, right? Run up the middle, see what they got, and see if you can wear them down a little bit. It's interesting. Everything evolves, right? But then it always comes back. So I wonder when that's going to come back.
Yeah, I thought we'd see it a lot more this year, too. Like, even Atlanta, they ran the ball constantly last year. This year, they're like, we got a guy now.
Yeah. Well, they don't usually have the ball either. So that, and they're in first place. So
4-3.
I mean,
minus 18-point differential. They don't care.
It's not nothing.
They're just winning.
You mentioned the running backs. Does that say anything about the running backs maybe not being as good as they used to be?
I think you got to commit to it. I think there's certain guys like Derrick Henry you got to just feed. And then at some point,
man, he's been invisible this year.
Yeah. You get to tackling Derrick Henry 22 times. By that 23rd time,
like, I don't want it.
It's a business decision at that point. You're like, to hell with this. There are backs that are more than capable of handling the rock for 20 plus times, but you look at it, they're being split. There's 12 carries, 10 carries, or 12 touches. I don't think you get into a rhythm that way. Kerry Davis would be a perfect one to ask. Maybe I'll ask him on the gridiron, guys.
Well, that reminds me of playoff hockey, right? We've talked about it before where, that's a 7-game series and you might lose game 1, but by the 6th or 7th game, if you're playing heavy on the forecheck, it's
you're
eventually
going to wear you down.
Yeah, you're eventually going to get worn down.
Yep.
And you end up winning. The Blues did that against the Sharks in 2019. I feel like it's something similar. Obviously, you're comparing that to a full series versus one game. But, football, I mean, these guys are getting battered and bruised.
Sure. I think it applies, though.
Long.
I think it applies. And the other thing, too, and I'll end on this, the front sevens are undersized now, so they can handle the pass. Run the damn ball. These guys are undersized. They're athletic as hell. They're fast, but they're undersized.
It would make me want to get more running backs. And bad comp, I was going to say like Derrick Henry, but I mean size-wise. Like, give me some bruisers.
Yeah.
Like, give me some guys that can just go through there and put a hurting on somebody. You got a lot of these running backs that are undersized, too. And I know it's like a smaller position, but give me some heavy.
Right. You want them to catch.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Preferably they do both, but Derrick Henry doesn't.
Boy, you're asking for a lot, Anthony.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Brad. That's my bad. Let's get to the biggest question of the day, then.
What is it?
I don't know. We'll find out next on 101 ESPN. Yeah, you know you got the NFL action tonight, but tomorrow night you've got NBA starting. You got 2 games, 2 primetime matchups, and you can jump into the NBA action right now with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, and that's guaranteed. Guaranteed, win or lose. Plus, all customers get 3 months of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel, when they place a $5 bet on the NBA. That's why that way you can watch all the games, Brad. You get the NBA League Pass, and you can bet with FanDuel.
Seems like a win-win, Anthony.
Darn
Obviously, you're going to win your bet. I mean, that's going to happen. Then you get the NBA League Pass, and you get in on the action tomorrow. You got the Lakers and the Nuggets. That line's already moved today. The Nuggets earlier in the day were favored by 5.5. A bunch of Lakers backers are coming in on this one. Maybe you think that there's some value there. Whatever you like, you want to do it over at FanDuel. Don't miss your chance to get $200 in bonus bets plus 3 months, as Anthony said, of the NBA League Pass. Here's how you do it. Go to FanDuel.com/fast. That's FanDuel.com/fast to take advantage of it over at FanDuel. 21 and over, present in Illinois. New customer offer. First online real money wager only. Refund issues non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. All customer offer. $5 NBA wager required. Limit 1 pass per customer across both offers.
Restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See full terms for both offers at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. NBA League Pass. Local blackout restrictions apply.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues took down the Penguins on Saturday by a final score of 4-2. They'll be back in action tomorrow, taking on the Winnipeg Jets. 6:45 pregame show, 7:45 puck drop. You can listen to that right here on 101 ESPN. City SC, the regular season has come to a close as they lost to the Seattle Sounders this weekend, a 2-0 final. We talked about them earlier in the show. If you missed that or anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Tonight, the Rangers are taking on the Astros in Game 7 of the ALCS. The winner going to the World Series. They will either face the Phillies or the Diamondbacks. They are currently in Game 6 as the Diamondbacks lead this one 3-1 in the bottom of the 4th inning. Tonight, Monday Night Football, 49ers taking on the Vikings. You can listen to that one right here on 101 ESPN. Pregame starts at 6:30. We have our biggest question of the day coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
With Brad Thompson, I'm Anthony Stalter. Here's Andrew Marsh with the biggest question of the day.
All right, guys, this could apply to any sport. We were talking about this earlier in the show, so I wanted to bring it back up. Or not earlier in the show, but in the office, so I wanted to bring it back up on the show. But how important is it to nail down your coaching staff before you start to construct your roster?
Yeah, I think you can attack this a couple of different ways. Brad, I'd be interested in your thoughts from a baseball standpoint, and not just maybe the coaching staff overall, but maybe the organization. You know, your minor league system, how important is it to have the right coaches in place when you're developing players?
Yeah.
When Marsh asked that question, I almost think of it from a football standpoint. How many times do we get these head coaches screwing up game management because maybe they're an OC from a previous team, and they're only thinking in OC terms, which is points, yards, and points. That's it.
See, that was so surprising to me, too, as we were talking about it in the office, because I asked you, I go, why? You're an offensive coordinator. Like, shouldn't you be focused on the time of the game and where you're at? And you're like, no, they're focused on
yards and points. That's right. Pick up yards. If you pick up yards, you pick up points, you're good. So now you have that mindset, right? You're Shane Steichen, and you did that with Philly, and now you're with Indianapolis. That's how you get to a point where you're throwing the ball backed up to your own end zone before the half because you think, I got 2 minutes to play with.
No, you have 2 minutes to get rid of.
Yeah, exactly. Get to half. You're in good shape. You're playing well. Just get to the half. Instead, Myles Garrett, who had been wrecking you to that point, wrecks you again. They pick up a defensive touchdown. And then what happens? You get the ball back, and instead of doing the smart thing, which you should have done before, you start, I still got 40 some odd seconds to play with now. Cleveland got 10 points out of that. Now, I know you made
a juggernaut of an offense.
They certainly are, especially with Deshaun Watson, that guaranteed contract.
What did he throw the ball 5 times? Was it one completion, 1 interception? I know.
I was about to say, one, and I think it could have been 2 interceptions.
Yeah, one got whistled back.
Brad, I think to the nature of the question, how important is it to nail down your staff before constructing your roster? I think back to whether it was Sean McVay's call or another call, but when the Rams hired Sean McVay, their next decision was to appoint Wade Phillips, the assistant coach and defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I think every young coach, especially offensive coordinators that become head coaches, I think they should have an assistant coach that has been a head coach before, that understands game management, that understands what it takes to win the game. That is his job on Sundays. Your focal point is to win this game. Not create havoc defensively, not yards and points. Win the game. Yeah. Whether that's 31-18 or 6-4. And that was some weird scoring. Just win the game. 2 safeties. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
I'm not watching that game.
No. So I think that's what I would do. But that's from a football standpoint.
So the concept of it is it's not even possible, right? Unless you're building an expansion team, because you're going to be inheriting some sort of a team, right? But that you're doing. So the whole like building your team before building your coaching staff beforehand never happens. To me, the most important thing is making sure that you have a staff that can elevate your players somehow or another. Now, football is a little bit different, obviously, than baseball, and I love the comps that you brought out there, because you do see it a lot with these offensive-minded head coaches. Can't get out of that realm. All of a sudden, you're biting yourself when it really matters. But I think that's the biggest key. When you have, like, if you've got a bunch of young pitchers on a staff, well, you better have somebody that can usher them in and they can help them out, whether it's analytically or mentally or physically. Like, you have to be able to staff yourself in the right direction. You also mentioned like in the minor leagues. Well, top to bottom, you better have great coordinators throughout. You better have your top prospect is whatever, an outfielder. Who's working with the outfielders? Like, who is that guy that is taking care of this? And you know that the future is in good hands. Like, I think that we all too often think that we know what a player is when they get to the big leagues, and we watch it for a couple of months in baseball. It's like, that's what he is. Like, no, like, this is probably a guy that's flown through a minor league system, has probably not had a ton of coaching along the way, and still needs to learn a lot of things. So coaching to me is one of the most important things, and especially in baseball, where you get drafted and generally spend a couple of years in the minor leagues. It is so important to have the right people around and have the right stuff, right? When it comes to
resources.
Yeah, resources, and whether it's data or all the tech that is out there nowadays. Love or hate the tech, guys are leaning into it. Guys are going right after a season and going to places that have the tech that you don't have, so they can iron out mechanics or figure out different grips on pitches. Like,
might as well bring that
in-house.
Yeah.
That should be there. They should be coming to you all the time, because you have all these things and then you have the right people.
Absolutely.
I think that's kind of how that should be built.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned this recently before, but what you just said, Brad, reminds me, and then you and I may have been talking about something similar, but it reminds me when Jamie was talking, when he played with the Red Wings, and the ownership group went to him and said, hey, tell us what you need.
Yes.
Because we don't want to hear the excuses of why you didn't win later. You know, tell us what you need. Tell us what you need. Whatever it is, we're going to get it. And the Red Wings, they won a lot of games.
Money.
They had a pizza money. That's right. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, there was Illich? Yeah. God rest his soul. He's no longer with us, Brad.
I'll do it if you want me to, but
all right,
Mike Illich gave the boys everything that he had until he had no more. No, I'm good.
Yeah, no. All right, that's Brad. I think that's the first one that you gave of somebody that actually passed. So,
I usually do it to people that are with us?
I'm pretty sure you do.
Oh no, you're probably right.
It's usually easier, like
because it's less sad, huh?
Yeah, like Dexter Fowler is now an angel. You know.
No, I'm not doing it.
No?
For Dax? We already did Dax.
But that was my example. My example was...
Yeah, no, you're right. No, you're right. Generally, it was when somebody's career came to an end. Honestly, it was like the worst time ever to do eulogies. You would play the song, and then I just felt like I had to do it.
Absolutely. We really forced you to do it. Like Shohei Ohtani,
I'm not your show pony anymore. I'll tell you that.
Shohei Ohtani,
for example. You're not just going to play music, and I'm just like... music, give me a topic, and I'm going to Googleize somebody.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I'm not doing it, so quit asking.
I'm not going to do it.
You don't think I know what a googly is?
I'm a model, idiot. Underrated movie.
The gasoline
fight. You gotta watch
fight.
it 3 times. You died in a freak gasoline fight incident.
The first time I saw that, when they were fighting with the gasoline, it was one of the hardest times I've ever laughed.
The gasoline. And if you have no idea what we're talking about, it's Zoolander. If you haven't seen Zoolander, Watch it once, and then be like, these guys are idiots. Then watch it again.
You're like, these guys are still idiots.
And
but
then
this
one more
is
time.
kind of funny.
Yeah, one more time.
And the last one, you're like, these guys are idiots. But man, they're right. They're funny.
I remember seeing that when I was younger, and I think it might have been at like a Christmas, family get together. I don't know what it was, but that movie was on, and the kids are running around doing stuff. I'm running around, and then I stop in the living room, and it's that scene. I had no idea what movie it was, and they're playing, whatever, and then it blows up, and I was like, what just happened? And then I just kept running, and I had no idea what movie it was until I had gotten older.
Oh, that's great.
And then watched it again and saw it, and I was like, oh, felt like
Orange mocha frappuccinos.
What a dumb movie.
What is this, a center for ants?
He's absolutely right. This has got to be at least two times as big.
You know what's another dumb movie that actually BT recommended me watching? Idiocracy.
Dude, Idiocracy is
I did watch
dumb,
it.
but it's incredibly intelligent. Like, that's where we're headed. We're heading in this direction. Have you realized that a lot more people are stupid than there were in the past? Where if you've never seen Idiocracy before,
I gotta see it.
It's an average Joe guy, right? Yeah. Who's not very smart, like in his time. He gets frozen in a time capsule. He wakes up in the future, and they elect him president because he's by far the smartest person in the world.
Yeah.
It's incredible, and we're trending.
Oh, man.
We're trending there.
It's both funny,
and
ironic, and sad.
It's also funny in the beginning to see what Fuddruckers starts out as and what it ends up as.
Okay, fair.
Because its name also has evolved.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. By the way,
that's what you're thinking. Yeah.
By the way, the Diamondbacks have now taken a 4-1 lead over the Phillies. I don't want anything to do with Aaron Nola. He's no Cardinal. If you're going to perform like this in the postseason, actually, it probably makes sense for the Cardinal.
We need a guy like Aaron Nola.
Yeah, good call.
Not Aaron Nola.
But not Aaron Nola. What you missed next on 101 ESPN? If you missed anything from today's show, you can always download the podcast, available at 101ESPN.com or your free 101 ESPN app. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Our guy BT was in full show today. Talked a little Blues early on. Talked about St. Louis City SC and whether or not if they get bounced in the first round, would the season be disappointing? Brad said absolutely not. I said absolutely yes.
Look,
we
Anthony,
went back
the way
and
that you're
forth.
tabling that is just
perfect.
Disappointing is
It's
different.
disappointing.
This season has been a success no matter what happens.
Sure.
Of course you're going to be disappointed that you end up losing, which
You're
they
right.
won't.
Massively disappointed.
Whether they face Kansas City, which will be an epic battle, or they face your Earthquakes, who I still think is a very insensitive team name in California. Look, it's we all want them to win, but even if they lost, Anthony, I think it's still a win.
Okay.
And everybody gets a trophy.
Jeez, Brad. Anyway, so we had that discussion.
Orange slices.
We also discussed Capri Suns. Yep, there we go. We also discussed what happened yesterday in the NFL, broke down the Eagles and Dolphins. What did we learn about both teams last night? Discussed some of the more disappointing aspects of Sunday's games and which team was a pleasant surprise today. Cardinals-wise, could past mistakes hinder Cardinals' future decisions, the emphasis being on Adolis Garcia.
Not why we have to do that.
You did have him in the organization. Is Mizzou, are we all past Mizzouing it at some point? Yes, we turn that into a verb.
When can that be a good verb? Like, how many years down the road, it's like, hey, I know they're down, but they're about to Mizzou this thing.
Oh, boy,
Like
that's a lot of comebacks.
Oh,
yeah.
isn't it?
You had one last week against Kentucky. Maybe,
Love a good comeback story.
you know, you could start racking those in a little bit. Sure, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
I like that, Brad. I like what you did there. Speaking of Brad, you got chosen in the Gauntlet two straight times now. So we'll see if you're going to be on tomorrow. Let's see if somebody makes it 3 in a row.
I will be coming on right at Gauntlet time tomorrow. I believe Jamie's got the first 2 hours. I get the second 2 hours.
So you can choose BT if you want to.
I think you're scared away by now, Anthony. Let's be honest.
You never know. Some people are like, oh, I could take them.
Well, chances are they can. I was trying to get them to go the other.
Oh, no, you're red hot.
Until it lands on hockey.
You'll be fine.
Now, if we had a soccer one, you know the kid's all over that.
No doubt.
Let's go.
Yeah. The kid, by the way, was the answer to our trivia question
Sure
from
was.
Metallica. Brett, did Ryder tell us who won?
Absolutely. It was Barry. Barry, I don't know who it was.
I don't think it was. Do you know who?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I completely forgot.
Somebody won the. No, it wasn't Brad. No,
Had to be Mike.
And it wasn't. It wasn't Jack either. So let's just move on. Somebody won those Metallica questions. We asked the trivia question. You had to be paying attention at the start of the show today, but we started talking about whether or not the kid, so like Sid the Kid Crosby or the kid Ken Griffey.
Name the kid.
Yeah, I would still call Ken Griffey the kid.
It's got to last forever, I guess.
Exactly.
The kid lived to 100.
He lived his best life. So that's
He's
all
in
available.
diapers again.
It's all available on the podcast. Brad, why'd you take it there? What do we got for criticisms and compliments, Marsh?
Brad, stepping in for Jamie and just keeping that Blues talk, just keeping it going.
Yeah, keeping it on point.
Absolutely. And from the 980 BT, that was a great call on the speed take, because although Pittsburgh may have the Hall of Famer and the names, they are older, slower. And that made the Blues look a lot faster than what they really are. We will see tomorrow night against Winnipeg.
Can't take away their hockey.
If that was the reason they beat Pittsburgh, because they were slow.
I mean, it helps. It helps. Like, Anthony, I'm not fast. I race against a toddler. I want to win. I get longer strides.
Or even our old good buddy DeMarco Farr. You beat him in a race, too.
I certainly did. The 40-yard dash.
Yeah.
He had me off the line, though. Like explosive speed.
Yeah.
He wasn't built for the rest of it.
No.
But had me off the line, for sure.
When I raced, our dear, late, great friend, Chris
when you
Duncan.
fell?
No, I didn't fall.
Did he fall?
No. There was a false start at the beginning. Yeah. I had him for the first 3 to 5 steps, and I thought,
Got him.
And boy, he started swinging those oak trees for legs, and
I mean, he's got a long stride.
he left me in the dust. Yeah.
Why'd you think you could beat him?
I don't know. I was young, dumb, and full of spirit.
Sure were. This is probably a bad thing to have. I think that I should win at everything.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
You
I
challenge
got
me
it.
to something? Fine. Yeah,
Right.
let's go. And I'm genuinely confused when I lose. I think. Like, I've never played this before. And I actually...
Brad, you're in the early 40s. Why did you think you were going to...
I give my son crap for this all the time. Like, he'll be, like, out shooting hoops, and, like, he'll miss, like, 7 in a row. I go, dude, you never practice. He's, like, pissed off. Like, you don't practice this. How do you think you're going to be good? And I do the same stuff. I'm like, no! How did I lose? What is this? Where does this false confidence come from?
Brad, I got 2 things for you. 1, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. And 2, pride comes before the fall, you know? And
I don't know what that means.
I'm only saying this because I've had to say those 2 things myself. Yeah. All right, what else we got, Marsh?
From the 636, miss you on the air, BT, love you. I need green seats for next season.
Sweetening me up, huh? I've still, to this day, I've still never sat in green seats myself. Would love to.
Well, you keep giving those tickets away. So,
for sure.
Yeah, at some point you got to keep them, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to. Hope I'm working, you know? Hope to be working
you'll
when
be
these games
fine.
are going on.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
But, Anthony, I mean, you can sit there again if you want.
I've never sat in the green seats.
Oh, yeah, I usually give you the cheaper ones.
Yeah. They're still nice, though.
They're very nice.
They're awesome.
Very nice. I don't have any tickets.
Sorry.
From the 314, let's do it for Marsh. That's what the Vikings are going to be cheering tonight in their locker room pregame. Wow, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm. So what are the Vikings 2-3?
2-4.
They're 2-4 right now. Okay. So yeah, you don't want to be 2-5.
No, you don't.
When the Falcons are 4-3.
A lot of season left.
Do they
a lot
cover?
Of season
Is the question. 7 points is the spread.
Yeah, because they play a lot of 1-possession games. So I would say yes on that.
You know, I could see them winning tonight.
I could tell by your face you didn't necessarily believe that when you said that, Marsh.
I mean, you know, if they're saying let's do it for Marsh,
so you feel
that's got to be like
you feel good right now.
I feel good.
You feel empowered.
Disingenuous. You were telling I said something earlier that I didn't truly believe.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I was like, what do you mean? But I saw
Voice
it in his
went
face
up,
right there.
The eyes were all over the place.
What you said.
What do you mean?
Yeah, you get the frow going.
Oh, really?
Up there it is, the old real. Yeah. Really, you don't believe?
Oh, okay.
You don't believe me?
I guess
that's just
I cannot be trusted,
problem.
huh? Okay.
Right.
No, I don't believe him at all.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one tonight. We'll see what happens. But at least we don't have to worry about who wins because we already beat the Rizzuto show this week.
So
look at us go.
We're up 5-2 now?
Yeah.
5-2.
Feels good.
It feels real good.
So what a week, though. What a week when 7 is the top of the board.
BT won it for 7.
Weird week in the NFL.
Last one here from the 636. So glad to hear BT back on these airwaves. Welcome back.
No doubt.
Well, thank you. It's been fun today. Fun hanging out in the studio.
Yeah, I'm glad you're back.
A couple hours on Tuesday, a couple hours on Friday as well. So looking forward to it. Jamie's on that Canadian swing.
Yep.
Sorry about it. So
sorry.
Wow. Happy to jump in.
Great stuff, Brad. Love doing radio with you. It's good stuff as always, my man. All right, we've got we got Vikings and 49ers pregame at 6:30. So I think we got a very short instant replay, and then we got the game for you tonight. So Vikings 49ers pregame again at 6:30. By the way, Giannis agreed to a massive extension with the Bucks, 3 years, $186 million. So he's making that Jamie Rivers money right now. Yeah. So just a little breaking news for you. But again, Vikings, 49ers, you're driving around tonight. Again, we got the game for you. For Andrew Marsh and Brad Thompson, we'll be back for 2 hours tomorrow. I'm Anthony Stalter. Everybody have a great night. Appreciate you listening. See you.